Htp family, you're tuning into the pro-black perspective on KWAZ Radio, and we're going to continue reading The Wretched of the Earth. Your host for tonight is obviously Onitaset Kumat, and we got in the background Machiavelli. So if anybody else want to join, come through. You know how to do it. You just join the Discord, click the link below, and you could.
Your host for tonight.
For tonight, yeah. Oh, today. Look, it's tonight somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the people in China. Shout out to the people in China. You know, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the people in China. Anyway, but yeah. So we're gonna kick it. This is gonna be page 12 to 24. I hope you guys were enjoying it, and leave some comments. You know, introduce yourself, talk some stuff, and we all good. So we're gonna go into it right now. So self-criticism has been much talked about recently. But few realize that it was, first of all, an African institution. So that's a little bit of I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but let's find out. Whether it be in the Jemas of North Africa or the Palavers of West Africa, tradition has it that disputes which break out in a village are worked out in public. But by this I mean collective self-criticism with a touch of humor, because everyone is relaxed, because in the end we all want the same thing. The intellectual sheds all that calculating, all that strange silences, those ulterior motives, that devious thinking and secrecy as he gradually plunges deeper among the people. In this respect, then, we can genuinely say that the community has already triumphed and exudes its own light, its own reason. All right, that's a little bit clear. So, but when decolonization occurs in regions where the liberation struggle has not yet made its impact sufficiently felt, here are the same smart Alecs, the sly, shrewd intellectuals whose behavior and ways of thinking, picked up from their rubbing shoulders with the colonialist bourgeoisie, have remained intact. Spoiled children of yesterday's colonialism and today's governing powers, they oversee the looting of the few national resources. Ruthless in their scheming and legal pilfering, they use the poverty, now nationwide, to work their way to the top through import-export holdings, limited companies, playing the stock market, and nepotism. Oh, the stock market. You know, today we'll say the crypto market, right? Shout out to everybody, right? All right, they insist on the nationalization of business transactions, i.e. reserving contracts and business deals for nationals. And so, look, so this is actually pretty important. So he's criticizing what would be the right thing to do. And maybe, and this is one of the issues, one of the troubles about the quote unquote socialists, is that what happens is that they become unrealistic in their expectation of what the future of a colony or the future of a nation would be, right? So they're saying, hey, some individuals are working their way to the top of the import-export holdings. What does that mean? That means that like essentially the basic distinction that people try to make between capitalism and communism is the idea of private ownership versus public ownership, right? And what private ownership versus public ownership is to say is that individuals or private companies, private corporations will reap the benefits of their investments, as opposed to the public being the investor and the beneficiary of the investment. But the reality is that there's no public that is investing, you know? So like import-export holdings, you know, a classic example of this would be, let's say, like I said, guacamole, right? Or avocado, right?
You said guacamole, man. What?
No, I mean, I'm just like guacamole is like a finished product.
You mean avocado, though. I think that's what you mean.
No, I mean, it's either or. The point is that if you're exporting, like if you make avocado, if you import avocados and then create, you know, like combine it with salt, tomatoes, garlic, onions, lime. Yes, this guy knows how to make avocado. Okay. But he's like, I just made it. Yeah, he's eating right now. All right, but you do that. You make this avocado, right? Now you can package it and sell it. Okay. Now, but the thing is this: that if you are running this, if you are packaging and selling this avocado, the idea is this: that you personally overseeing this avocado to guacamole, production cycle, right? You overseeing that, you're the one taking the risk of whether or not other people are going to buy the avocado and the guacamole, and you have to connect with other people around the world who want to buy guacamole from you, right? As to say that, let's say if, in Kingston, Jamaica, they want to eat some guacamole, right? Or in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, they want to eat guacamole, right? You have to make that connection. You have to give it to the some other company that's going to ship it out to those cities and then distribute it to wherever they're distributing it, whether it be restaurants in Kingston or grocery stores in Haiti, right? All of that to say is that profit then is going to come back to you, and maybe not necessarily your neighbor who just spent the last 20 hours playing Fortnite. Now in the socialist paradigm, is saying, hey, that person who's playing Fortnite, right? Because that's what he wants to do, and that's fine. That person playing Fortnite should have the profits from that avocado trade that you negotiated with Kingston, Jamaica, right? And that's where the understanding of why a private individual would be wealthier than another private individual is falls apart in the socialist paradigm. So what happens is that you see what Fanon is saying right here, the spoiled children of yesterday's colonialism. So he's going to call you, let's say you're doing this avocado corporation, this avocado operation, right? And, you're hiring your employees to, make this connection and sell the avocado, the guacamole to Kingston, right? He's calling you the spoiled children of yesterday's colonialism, right? And today's governing power, who are overseeing the looting of the few national resources here, avocado. Okay, and he says you're ruthless in your scheming and you're legally pilfering while you're using poverty, so on and so forth, to while everybody else, while the gamer, the Fortnite guy, is in poverty, right? And you worked your way to the top of this import-export holdings, but realistically speaking, like again, this is not the socialist rhetoric. I'm saying what's realistic. What's happening is that realistically speaking, this import-export holding is that you are working with some sort of corporation that is able to ship. That is working with another corporation inside of Kingston that is able to ship the guacamole product that you made, that you bottled up, and ship it to Kingston to be inside of their restaurants or whatever, right? And he says limited companies and let's say the stock market. What the stock market is, for those who don't know, it's when a company goes public in a sense, and they are able to get money in exchange for partial ownership of their corporation, right? So that's what a stock is. And so there would be in another sense, one person is playing Fortnite, another person is saying, what? I like what this guacamole company is doing. I like they look like a strong company, and I want to buy a portion of them, and in so doing, give them some money in exchange for partial ownership. And he's saying that right there is spoiled scheming and all that, but it's a misunderstanding of why this economic structure is in place as it is, because that company that's doing the guacamole, who says, hey, if we had a little more money, if we had a little more capital, we'd be able to expand our operations even to Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, exactly, Brooklyn, New York, or Lisbon, wherever Lisbon is. I want to say France. I don't know, but Lisbon, Spain, right? Right. Well, but if they want to, and of course that's what the CEO does. The CEO is as part of that process of expanding where the company operates or how the company operates. So it might be that the CEO says, we're not dealing with Europe. It might be that the CEO says we're only dealing with Europe, right? That's why you as if you're part of the board of directors, you would pick the CEO that fits your philosophy, and in turn put your money where your mouth is, and that's where the stock market comes into play. But again, at the same time, you might have the person who's only playing Fortnite, or the person who's only farming for themselves, or the person who's only singing songs, or writing music, or whatever that is, right? When you have that person who's not doing all that kind of stuff, and then you say, hey, the profit should go equally between that person and the other person, that's where you mess up. Now here's another thing though. So there's a go between where it says, well, what about if everybody still had a social safety net? So to the point where the person who does want to play Fortnite all day, which is, something that people usually want to do, right? The person, they can still at least eat. They can still at least do so on and so forth. And that's upon the government and that economic structure. Now, how well that economic structure can hold, we don't know.
Welfare.
You said what?
Another one's welfare.
Exactly. Well, that's what the Europeans in that's the economy that a lot of people like, the European economy that Europeans have in Europe. They call it, I want to say they call it social democracies, or
like Finland, Sweden.
Yeah.
Or those.
Like there you could legit the government. Yeah, the government will give you a house. Like they'll say, yeah, you want a house, okay.
It'll be a big house, but you got a place to stay.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But that's decent. You got a place to play your Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man. I tell you, one time I dated this woman. Her son was just playing Fortnite like day in and day out. It was like he would wake up early and he would go to bed late.
Mic on his head while he sleeps.
Exactly. He's sleep playing, man. Anyway, but he was good at it too. All right, so they insist on the nationalization of business. They insist on the nationalization of business transactions, right? Which means reserving contracts and business deals for nationals. And again, he's making that seem like a bad thing, right? Yeah, like you see, he's making it seem like a bad thing, but that's what you'd want. It's like, either you could sell the guacamole to Kingston or a white guy could. The reality is that not everybody's selling the guacamole. Now, the other option, the socialist option, is to say, well, the government's going to sell the guacamole to Kingston. The reason why people like this capitalist versus socialist argument is because of the individual incentive. And you realize that the government, the public, has no incentive to change to change something that's not broken. So it's in the sense of the government doesn't have any incentive to create, let's say it this way. Capitalism. Okay, the internet was pretty much discovered not discovered, but let's say created in America, right? But it was created by the American government, okay? The American military. And the reason being is that they wanted to have private communications.
Telegrams and phones.
Exactly. Private communications without physical, whatever. Without physical apparatus per se. Exactly. Despite distance, lightning fast or whatever, right? So somebody in government, and that's why Al Gore trying to take credit. But Al Gore's internet. Yeah, exactly. Al Gore how you gonna say this? Like Al Gore's internet? Yeah. No, but he's being real in the sense of somebody in government said, yeah, let's open this up to the private companies and see what they can do with it. And so the private companies now, like AOL and them or whatever, or Yahoo and them, they use this technology developed by the government in order to facilitate communications between schools and then eventually private houses or whatever. The point being, though, is that if you're the government and you develop a technology for military communications, you don't really have any incentive to open it up to public private communications. You have no incentive to create a Facebook. You have no incentive to create any of that kind of stuff. All you want to do is like you just made something for yourself, right? And so this is where the capitalist individualist, not individualist, but the capitalist mindset comes in, where they're saying that you now see like some individuals saw a profit, something profitable in making mails like AOL. Like back in the day, they used to have AOL CDs. They would sell CDs so that you could get like AOL 10.0 or whatever, and then be able to send messages to friends and loved ones. And they were going hard on it.
Prepaid email.
Yeah, like they were going hard on it. They were legit.
Mailing to everybody. Basically.
Yeah, like you would have, legit, like you would open up your mail your mailbox and they'd be like, hey, there's another way to get mail.
My dad told me about that.
Oh yeah, the old heads, right? He's like, yo, yeah, my great grandfather told me about that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, y'all used to tie it on pigeons, right? Yeah, okay. But but like that's for real though. It's like somebody saw like there was something profitable. Like today, people are like, hey, sign up for an email. It's free, and you're just like, duh, it's free. Why would it not be free? But like back in the day, you was paying for that stuff.
It's not like your own email. Like you have like a domain name almost.
Yeah, you have to buy your own email, like legit, man. Like yeah, my dad bought me my first email addresses. Yeah. Anyway, but so yeah, like somebody saw some profit, and that's the whole thing. It's like, would it be profitable for the government to do that? No. You understand? Was it profitable for private industry to do that? Yes, and that now we have YouTube, we have this, we have that, because of that kind of enterprise. So, but again, onto this nationalization thing, it's like you do want your own national people to have all the contracts and business deals in your nation. Right now, whether you want the government to have all those things or you want private individuals is, that kind of philosophy. But again, it seems like if you have the government, and the government, remember who the government is. The government are the same people who, when they was interviewing, what's his name? The guy who made Facebook. And
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Zuckerberg. So these are a bunch of old folk interviewing Zuckerberg, talking about, so where's the pigeon fit? You know what I'm saying? like they older than me. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Zuckerberg like usually a robot, but this dude was expressive now. Like he had enough time. Enough of his time was wasted for him to like start making facial features that resemble the human being. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like that's it. It's like they're not those people in the government, those old heads. They're not going to be innovating anything in comparison to Zuckerberg, who made this thing. He made this Facebook thing that's like this world phenomenon or whatever, right? He made it just so he could look at girls, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just made it to look at girls. He was like,
girls on campus.
Exactly, like that. It made like the biggest corporate, like one of the biggest internet corporations, and all it was dudes. But the government's not going to come up with that. Because the government's a bunch of old farts who,
They're still using stuff from 1980s.
Exactly. If they want to look at girls, they're gonna just like buy them. You know what I'm saying? Like what? Anyway, all right. So the doctrine is to proclaim. I think I just lost my last follower. No, I'm joking. Sorry. The doctrine is to proclaim the absolute need for nationalizing the theft of the nation. So he says it's the theft of the nation, but it's not. Again, if you're selling avocado and making it to guacamole, it's not stealing. It's legit doing something productive, and just the idea that if I'm doing this operation, if I'm like going out to Kingston to say, hey, would you like to import some guacamoles from my nation, right? If I'm making that deal, like realistically speaking, you'd want to compensate me more so than the other person who's not making that deal. At least on that particular issue. Maybe if they're doing something else, like they're building a rocket, sure. But again, and that's where it all comes back to why you would have private enterprise versus public enterprise. Because what if the government is saying, no, we want to build more rockets. No, we want to do this. No, we want to do that. And it's just fruitless. Or what if they're like, hey, let's not make guacamole. Let's make, avocado lotion. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to buy avocado lotion. Or even avocado bird spray or something like that. Something stupid. Then all of the resources of the nation is just going to that. And yeah, you might share the profit with everybody, but nobody wants to buy avocado bird spray. That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, so in this barren national phase, in this so-called period of austerity, their success at plundering the nation swiftly sparks anger and violence from the people. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's I get it. But anyway, in the present international African context, the poverty-stricken. Oh, my bad. Did I even share the screen? Oh, hold on a second. First off, I got to make sure I share the screen on YouTube. I forgot to share the screen. Revolutionary Matrons here. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Well, we was talking crap.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sis. We was just talking crap.
Good evening, wherever.
Exactly, in China.
Around that, like I'm stateside, but capitalism would not be bad if it could be done humanely. The problem is that capitalism are not inherently humane, and we cannot legislate humanity into people. That's why people say, okay, let's just bypass this inherent fault in the acquisition of capital, because people are going to get greedier and greedier. They're going to want to amass more wealth for themselves.
Yeah.
And they're going to bypass the public good. We're in a situation like that right now.
Sure.
Where for over 70 years,
they
have been coming up against coming up with legislation and lobbying our lawmakers to make the laws more and more inhumane and making them more adversarial to the average non-capitalist person, i.e. the worker. And if you work a job for money, even if you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or millions of dollars a year, you are still an urban slave, and you are subject to these issues. Yeah.
Well, I want to tell people know too that, like, the inhumane part, I want to clarify that I feel like, at least my understanding, is that Wazungu is really going to be inhumane because, you know, one issue that I'm really grappling with is this reality that Wazungu does not have to be humane to you, you know, and not just that. I also think that this is something I'm going to add into some short story I'm trying to operate on, but it's this idea that like we have to, as nation builders, you know, as soi disant nation builders, right? We have to say to ourselves, what is the purpose of building a nation? You know? Because when Wazungu built these colonies, his purpose was clear. His purpose was to extract the wealth of whatever area he went to. You know? Whether it was coffee beans in Ethiopia, whether it was gold in Ghana, whether it was maybe coffee inside of India. I don't remember what it was in India, but whatever it was, he went to these nations for a particular purpose, not to feed the people there, not to clothe the people there, he wasn't going on any sort of nice mission. He was going to extract wealth. And so I believe that if we as African people are saying that we're going to set up nations not to extract wealth, right, but to feed our people, right, to clothe our people, to better to expand our cultures and bring our people into better health, right? If that's what we're doing, then if private individuals or even the public government, if they are this in mind and that if that's their modus operandi, that's their goal, that's why they're doing it. That's why this person is selling guacamole in Kingston, New York, because he knows that, Kingston, Jamaica, because he knows that that whatever profit he gets, he's going to bring it back to feed more people. If that's the case, then yeah, absolutely. I think that those kind of people, if that's what you would call a capitalist, then yeah, I don't mind that sort of capitalist, right? But as far as Wazungu is concerned, Wazungu did not go to any of these nations in Africa to be humane. You know, he did not go to any of these nations in Africa to do for them. He went there to do for self. And I don't particularly know if that's a flaw in the economy or a flaw in the culture, and I wouldn't even say it's a flaw in the culture of Wazungu, but I recognize that that's his cultural, that's his culture, you know.
That's wrong.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, my thing is this: if you
we're human beings,
exactly.
Look,
and that's the thing. We need a new type.
Don't listen to that guy. He's trolling anyway. Hey, look.
Hey, well, how's working?
Don't listen to him. He's don't believe what the word that guy says. He tell you the banks to the left is to the right. I'm telling you. No, but like, yeah, no, I understand. We are human beings, but again, like if like his, like, this man's goal is to feed his family, you know, it's to get, like I said, if he's a British person, his goal is to get British pounds and use it to give to his family. You know, he has a wife, he has children, he has sons, he has daughters. He wants his family to do better, right? So when he goes to when he goes to Africa, he's looking to get British pounds. There are no British pounds in Africa. You know what I mean? So he has to take stuff out of Africa, bring it to Britain. Britain then says, okay, I like what you're selling. I'll give you some British pounds, right? With those British pounds, he uses them in Britain for his family, you know? So it's like, he's not like that's his goal. He's not looking for cowrie shells, you know? He's not looking for this or that. He's looking to feed his family. And that's what we really, and so we might say, hey, that's inhumane, but it's like, realistically speaking, that's what you do, you know? Like what you do. Exactly, yeah.
But there's nothing inhumane with wanting to feed your family.
Mm-hmm.
There's distinctively something inhumane about cutting people's arms off.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing people, burning their villages, but they did that to themselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's their culture.
You know, so, you know, like, we're dealing with a multiplicity of problems because in order to justify this behavior, if they can do this to themselves,
mm-hmm.
then they distinctively and definitively will do this to someone that doesn't look like them because
mm-hmm.
they were really relatives. They are really like relatives.
Cousins.
They can go back and trace the fact that
Romeo and Juliet, you know?
Facts. They can go back and trace who they are to each other, and they hate each other.
Look, there's this proverb, that African proverb that goes, if the crocodile eats its own eggs, what do you think it's going to do with the flesh of a frog? You know? Like you can't...
It's going to cook it.
It's going what?
They'll kick it.
Like, yeah, sure. If it's lucky. You know what I'm saying? like the crocodile, like, you don't mess with no crocodile. You know, if the crocodile is eating its own eggs, like it's eating its own, if it don't value the life of its own children, right. You know, or if it don't value the life of children, and you know, we see the same thing with the lions. You know, lions, they say when a male lion takes over another lion's pride, he kills all the boys.
That's true. Yeah.
All the boys that ain't his sons, he says, yeah, I'm gonna kill all of you. So now we go into the lion saying you're not, you know, or you know, yeah, we go into, all right, or like, let's say we another lion talking about to another lion, hey, you're not, well, let's say, we're not going to say humane, let's say lionane or whatever, you know, you're not lionane because you don't value the lives of other lions. Like, no, I don't value the lives of other lions. I done ate he only worried about his seed. He only worried about his children.
To be honest, they're not my bloodline.
You said what?
The extra mouse to feed, that's not his bloodline.
Exactly. Like, so that's the thing these white boys do. It's like, yeah, sure. You know, you're like, sure, I understand I shouldn't be cutting off your arm, but, you know, I need to get this rubber, and I'm not climbing a tree. You understand? I'm not climbing this tree to get this rubber. And if I don't get this rubber, then, you know, Belgium, you know, the king of Belgium is going to have my head. You know? So it's either your arm or my head. And that's what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, and the king of Belgium is not gonna play with you. You know, he don't even know who you are. You know what I'm saying? He just said, "Bring me the quota," and that's that. But yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely agree that, you know, capitalists have this reputation of being inhumane. But that's, again, like, Wazungu's inhumane, and they're the capitalists. So I feel like it's
within their own system that, you know, they created. So
exactly, like, because they was never humane.
Hold their own.
Exactly. Like let's be honest. They had the Salem witch trials. They had the conquistadors. They had slavery. They had like they had all this stuff. It's not like the crusade. Exactly. It's like there's no point in their history. It's like there's no point in their history where they was humane. So it's like it's not really the last economic system that's the inhumane one. It's them. This is the common denominator, like this brother was saying, right? They're just a common denominator, you know. And they trying to fool us. They be like, "Yeah, man, the problem is capitalism." It's like, weren't you the overseer? You know what I'm saying? like, you know, it's the damn overseer telling you the problem is capitalism. That was you, fool. You know. Anyway, sorry. Let's keep going. And the Barren National phase. Oh, thanks, sister, for going up. You know. I was getting tired of this brother. No, I'm joking.
So let's not do.
No, I'll just anyway. Nah, he's good people. All right. The doctrinists proclaim the absolute need for nationalizing the theft of the nation. In this barren national phase of the so-called period of austerity, the success at plundering the nation, swift sparks, blah, blah. In the present international and African context, the poverty-stricken and independent population achieves a social conscience at a rapidly accelerating rate. This, the petty individualists will soon find out for themselves. So yeah,
he just talk about austerity programs and the fact that austerity programs are just programs where working people pay for the privilege of having a job. Can we talk about that?
Wait, is that in America?
Like austerity programs. Austerity programs are like, you know, when like companies pay dividends based on how many people are how many regular people have bought into the company, how well the company did, their dividends and things like that, and they get tax write-off. Correct, right? And then they get like dividends, but those dividends are tax deductible, so it's an offset. So the profit from people going to work every day is not put back into the working people's hands because the government has to give these people for not working, because only working people pay taxes. So the government has to give these people a tax cut, and so they pay less taxes. Austerity programs, or programs where, you know, they sit up and they say, oh, well, you loan the government $100 million for social programs and schools, and you gave this money away to charity, quote unquote, but now you get to write off $100 million in your profit-making enterprises, and we, the government, will offset that and give you a tax benefit.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, but like
by working people.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. So I mean, like that right there, that set system, because that's a part of it. You know, because we're in this quote unquote capitalist economy where, realistically speaking, and this is the thing I want people to understand too, right? Because this is actually really on point with one of the things that goes on in this world that we're not like that I really want us to pick up on, is that when you form a nation, right, or anybody, or for a nation, like I kind of change the definition of a nation into a mutual aid group for the nation's elites. You know what I mean? So it's for a racial elite.
Find out you marrying Webster now.
Marion, I thought you said Marion, and I was like, what? Oh yeah, man. Why you gotta say Mariam? It's Miriam, man. Anyway,
same difference. This is not my native tongue.
Okay, man. Anyway, but yeah, Mariam, Dixon, down south accent, right? All right, but yeah. So when it comes to the nation, so the nation is in place to benefit the wealthy. You know, like every nation is in place to benefit the wealthy. And because of that program that you just described is just consistent with the whole purpose of running a nation. It's because when you are, and this is actually the best example I could think, or one of the examples I was thinking of earlier, and it goes like Akon town. Like Akon is trying to make a town in, I think, Senegal, right? If he makes this town, right, he's investing his money and the money of maybe like people all over the world or whatever, right? But particularly like maybe in Asian countries or whatever, right? I'm not trying to say, right? I learned my lesson from yesterday, right? But the thing is that Akon is supposed like Akon is going to benefit financially from that sort of nation, that sort of colony that he's making. You understand? And he is going to benefit more so than the people who might already be there. And we might say, hey, that's wrong, right? But we have to also remember and think about the realism of, well, what if I were to put down, millions of my money, right? If I were to put down so much of my money into a new, like a community to live, right? Would it be prudent for that community to financially benefit me more, less, or equally with the people who haven't invested in that, created that community? And And that really is what we're living in. We're living in these nations or these colonies that are, in fact, and we're also saying, well, why can't we get more? And it's because we actually never invested in the community. Now, we pay taxes? Yes, that's part of the reason why they allow us to be in the community. You understand? You said
there's no significant benefit to a worker to remain and stay in that community, and they become trapped there.
Well, that's why you got to repatriate. Because if you don't repatriate, you're going to be like you say, you're going to be a slave. You're going to be the citizen of another people and you're going to just pay taxes and finance their increased wealth. And that's what you see all over the world. If we stick around, right? And see, because there is a quote unquote benefit, you get the security of being in their community. You get the water, you get the internet, you get the ability to travel, you get the ability, you get all sorts of things for being a quote unquote citizen. But you have to pay your money, and you got those little benefits. But the real reason why somebody even formed that community was so that they can get the real benefits. And so that's really what's going on. And a lot of us, because we grew up inside of this African tradition or the African nationalist paradigm, and we say to ourselves, well, oh no, the poor should be first, or the poor should get the most, or blah blah. And we're like, why are the middle class getting the most, or why are the upper class getting the most? But it's exactly that, because this is that's who nations are supposed to benefit. You know what I mean? Like they're supposed, like Akon is supposed to get the most. Maybe if Akon chooses not to, that's fine. But usually you would get more if you invested than if you didn't. And most people are not investors. Only a handful are. So said another way, the Democratic Party, one of the ruling parties in America, has these donors and these investors, and they donate, invest, and they get back. They get something back. We, on the other hand, we're just the voters. Do we get something? Possibly. I mean, I'm not gonna say we don't get anything, but some people will say we don't, right? But do we get anything? Do we get anything close to what the billionaires are getting? No, because the billionaires are
versus owning.
Exactly. The billionaires are obviously going to get a lot more because they put in a lot more.
Yeah.
And so
you do have to pay for innovation ideas. You do have to compensate for those different paradigms, but at the same time, you cannot continue. About that. You cannot continue to put people in a position where they never get the benefit. And what these nations do is they put people in a position where regular folk never get the benefit. And I think that people gravitate towards democratic socialism, which the Scandinavians and things like that have, because it's like, okay, can't continue to put people in a position where they never get them ever.
Well, here's the thing.
Especially when you've stolen people to come and build that nation.
Well, that's the thing. That's the reason why this chapter is called On Violence. Because at the end of the day, these white people, and the way how white people operate. In fact, I'll tell you, because this is what they were telling each other. I used to be a part of this discussion group, and it was just a bunch of white folk, and they were telling each other that one of the pay. You said I'm telling on myself? Well, they didn't know I was white. They didn't know I was white. Actually, I put it in my stories with Barry. It was like one of the most significant quotes I heard from these white people was that white people pay you enough to show up to work tomorrow. They give you enough money so that you show up to work tomorrow. Like they're not gonna pay you more than that. That was the point. Like they don't pay you enough that you would stop working. You understand? They pay you enough so that you could show up to work tomorrow. They don't pay you less than that. They pay you just enough so that you would show up to work tomorrow, right? And that's what it is. It's like if you like I'm not going to say there's no benefit in living in America. You know, if some people feel that way, then what you have to do is either you move or you exercise your violence, right? But if you're in control, let's say let's take it back. You're in control of a people, and they're not moving, and they're not being violent with you, then they're receiving enough benefits. You understand? I mean, obviously you're being violent with them, so that's probably why they're not being violent with you. But at the end of the day, he's like, hey, look, I don't like if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If people are unwilling to, even if you say protest, if people are unwilling to protest, people are unwilling to get violent, people are unwilling to move, people just want to keep going to work the next day. If that's what it is, right? If you're enjoying, because like here's the benefits you get like let's say roads, you get stoplights or whatever, you get functioning stoplights, you get water, you get internet, you get all that kind of stuff. If that's enough to keep you non-violent and working, right? Then it's not broke. It's not broken. When you stop working, when you start being violent, then maybe it's broken. Maybe they should find a fix. But until then, no. If you just showing up, whatever. Like that's how it is. It's not broken. Don't fix it. And that's just like, yeah. I mean, there's not much else I can say about that actually. That's just how it is. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next one. In order to assimilate the culture, unless you guys had something to say about that, but all right.
About what?
But if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You got something to say about it?
Nah, I agree.
All right. In order to assimilate the culture of the oppressor and the venture into his fold, the colonized subject has had to pawn some of his own intellectual possessions. For instance, one of the things he has had to assimilate is the way the colonialist bourgeoisie thinks. This is apparent in the colonized intellectual's inaptitude to engage in dialogue, for he is unable to make himself inessential when confronted with a purpose or idea. On the other hand, when he operates among the people, he is constantly awestruck. He is literally disarmed by their good faith and integrity. He is then constantly at risk of becoming a demagogue. He turns into a kind of mimic man who nods his assent to every word by the people, transformed by him into an arbiter of truth. But the fella, the unemployed, and the starving do not lay claim to truth. They do not say they represent the truth because they are the truth in their very being. So this is a pretty interesting idea. He's talking about how you can easily grift people. He's saying you could easily grift the unemployed and starving and the fella, whatever that is, right? But it's probably something, not positive, I guess, right? Or not, whatever. But he's saying you are at risk of becoming a demagogue because people are disarmed, because people have good faith and integrity. Generally speaking, these people, the unemployed, the starving, they see you and they say you have, like that's what happens with, I told you guys about, what's his name? But pretty much all the grifters, all of them. I actually just saw this video of James Small. He did that. I saw this video of Umar Johnson, although allegedly he's starting a school up, but still. Tariq Nasheed, Young Pharaoh.
To this day.
You said what? Oh, I think.
To this day.
Oh yeah, well yeah, to this day. All right, but like all of them, right? Like anytime you see an African come up and they're saying something nice and good, you say, well, I believe they have good faith. I believe their hearts were the right place. They have some integrity. And as long as they're doing that, you lift them up and they're looking at you like what? They're disarmed. They're disarmed by your good faith and integrity. Because and like they say, he turns into a kind of mimic man who nods his assent to every word by the people, transformed by him into an arbiter of truth. Like we saw this real time with both Tariq Nasheed and Yvette Carnell. Like once they hit this stone, hit this chord with African American descendants of slavery or whatever, right? Once they hit that chord, that nice little xenophobia, right? They ran with it. Now, I don't think they were that xenophobic before then, but they understood, hey, there are some xenophobic people who are willing to pay me money, who are willing to give me money to speak that xenophobia, right? I'll be xenophobic. You know, and if you looked at, you know, like if you looked at the transformation of Yvette Carnell, yeah, she eventually was like, yeah, like somebody else came to her and was like, yeah, Hollywood, you know, is hiring these people who ain't even black, you know, and she was like, okay, I'll take up that issue too. Why? Because I'm gonna get money for it. You know, like allegedly broke people are paying them for, you know, and that's what it is. And it wasn't even just that though. I mean, apparently with ADOS, there's like research to suggest that there was some, you know, political, like let's say Republican Party financing or whatever. But that's like a whole other story. But anyway,
what? That's a whole other podcast.
What? Let's go. During this period, the intellectual behaves objectively like a vulgar opportunist. His maneuvering, in fact, is still at work. The people would never think of rejecting him or cutting the ground from under his feet. What the people want is for everything to be pulled together. The colonized intellectual's insertion into the human tide will find itself on hold because of his curious obsession with detail. It is not the people are opposed to analysis. It's not that the people are opposed to analysis. They appreciate clarification, understand the reasoning behind an argument, and like to see where they are going. But at the start of his cohabitation with the people, the colonized intellectual gives priority to detail and tends to forget the very purpose of the struggle, the defeat of colonialism. So I think he's really telling on himself. But more or less, he's also saying, like when he cohabited with the people, he was focusing on the detail as opposed to the defeat of colonialism, which the people were more so organized around and agitating for. As to say that, you know, he's sitting around a bunch of people who are like, hey, like the realism of war is, you know, you're going to be in one hideout and there's maybe like 5 hideouts, and then one hideout is like destroyed by the enemy, and it could be the hideout you're in, it could be the hideout you're not in. Right?
Somebody gonna die.
Exactly. But here's the thing. You're in this hideout, right? You're in this hideout and you're, you know, like if you're in this hideout, if you're in the moment, you're thinking of, well, you know, have you heard back from, you know, Okonkwo? You know what I'm saying? Have you heard back from Okonkwo? Is he, you know, he's late in his report. And whereas if you're this intellectual, you know, you're Fanon or whomever, right? You're thinking, so after, you know, like what are we eating for breakfast? You know, like it's something stupid, right? No, but you know, but like, okay, so what are we eating tomorrow? Like nobody gives a shit right now. And no, but like realistically speaking, though, it's like, you know, you worried about, well, where's the you know, so where are we gonna put the avocado farm or whatever? Like whatever, right? Me and this avocado thing, but like what are we gonna do with the cocoa beans or how are we gonna do this? What is France gonna like
set up the Wi-Fi, man?
Exactly, like who's gonna set up? It's like nothing important. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not in the moment. So he's like, so this is what he's saying. He's saying that we have, you know, intellectual gives priority to detail, but tends to forget the very purpose of the struggle, which is the defeat of colonialism. You know,
the big picture.
Well, I mean. The present picture. I think the intellectual might be focused on the bigger picture, but it's like you might not even survive.
Like a 5-10 year plan.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's the 10-year plan? How are we going to build this economy?
You're shooting at us right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like duck. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, so what's the 10-year plan? What are we going to eat in the future? He's like duck, and he's like, oh, I like duck. No, duck, man. Put your head down. Anyway. Anyway, all right. So swept along by the many facets of the struggle, he tends to concentrate on local tasks undertaken zealously, but almost always too pedantically. He does not always see the overall picture. He introduces the notion of disciplines, specialized areas, and fails into that awesome mixer and grinder called the People's Revolution. Committed to certain frontline issues, he tends to lose sight of the unity of the movement, and in the event of failure at the local level, he succumbs to doubt, even despair. So basically, he's like, "Oh, we're not eating. We don't have all the food. You know, we didn't like oh, somebody didn't water the trees, blah 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 blah. We're all gonna die. You know, it's just a failure. Why are we even fighting? Why are we resisting?" And everybody else is like,
"Are you littering? I can't believe you're littering."
Exactly, you littering this time. No, recycle that, man. That goes to recycle. Like, shut up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. Yeah, the people on the other hand, he's like, you know, and some people say that too. It's like they would be like, let's say you on the road, you know, you hiding out in the bunker, you eat a chocolate bar or whatever, and you throw it on the floor, and someone's like, yeah, you know what? No, I don't want to be a part of a future nation where we're littering on the floor. Like, shut up, man. Like, it's not even that complicated, Because I remember some sister told me that too when I was like about the national elites or the racial elites and how. That's who nations are benefiting. She's like, if there's going to be elitism, I'd rather we had slavery or something like that. Like it was just some nonsense,
I don't know why people act like there's no rankings in life in general.
Like, there's rankings in life. There's hierarchies in life. It was something along the lines of, I think no, and other people say the same thing too. They were like, oh, there was like a king in ancient Egypt. They were like, oh, it's a good thing they were destroyed then. And you're like, what?
What does that even mean? You mean okay, who's gonna lead the whole place? Like this doesn't make any sense.
Well, like, why would you want them destroyed? Like what? like you got like you're not even like what? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Sorry. The people, on the other hand, take a global stance from the very start. Bread and land. How do we go about getting bread and land? And that's really the issue. This is one of the issues that we don't understand too much. It's like you're setting up a nation to give the people bread and land, or give some, our people bread and land. And this stubborn, apparently limited, narrow-minded aspect of the people is finally the most rewarding and effective working model. So that's really what it is. He's like, that's the, other people are saying other things. They're like, oh, well, the capitalism, blah, blah, blah. No, what I want for our people is to get bread and land, like, how do we feed our people? When that's, like I said, you have this, let's say the Akon town or whatever, right? You have this Akon whatever, and if the people are well fed there, right, you're good. Now, if he's getting a bunch of money, yeah, he might be. If the Chinese are getting a bunch of money, yeah, they might be. Do you want the Chinese to get much money? Not really. Do you think Akon should? No. But if the people are getting food, bread, and land, that's what you want. If and
but at what cost?
Exactly. That's another question. But,
and I think that another question we don't consider is who are our people. That's why people get all caught up in these identity politics and defining and identifying who is this in-group that I'm going to create or who gets to participate.
That's facts right there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's another point, too, because, when you talk about this Akon town, I mean, I'm not going on Akon, but you get what I'm saying. Because I think a lot of people are going to say, I don't know, but I think he does have like Chinese investors and Indian investors and all that kind of stuff.
And that's the thing.
But that would be his people.
That would be his people. And Africans are not even in a position to profit from that endeavor, but it's being marketed to them. Oh, he gonna build Wakanda, especially coming up off of that Black Panther hype and all the other stuff.
Like a million years ago.
It's like, you are not his people.
Exactly.
You're not.
Yeah. That's an issue in and of itself as well. But that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, real life. You said what?
Should we unpack it?
Should we unpack it?
Yeah, but do we have time?
Unpack it? What does that mean?
Yeah, I was saying, like,
do we want to talk more about?
Yeah. I know slang. Yeah. I know slang. I was just messing. I was testing him. I was letting the audience know. Just because.
Told us who he be hanging out with. No,
I said that was like a decade ago. That was like a decade ago. All right, I'll be hanging out. You said what? No,
like 10 months ago.
10 months, not a decade? Oh, no, I'm joking. No, I'm just joking. All right. Anyway, like no. But stubborn, limited view, narrow-minded aspect. You said like that's the issue. It's like when you're talking about colonies and so on and so forth, you realize that the people that you are really, really trying to benefit would be the people who are the investors. And so that's why I emphasize and stress among us that we have to build our own. That's why I don't even get hype about other people and their attempts. Because if your attempt is with foreign investors, I already know the foreigner is going to get more than me, unless I'm an investor too, or equal investor with a foreigner. So what I encourage our people to do is to go into our own, like be our own investors, so that, and then of course if the investors are also good with the people on the ground, right? Then if that be the case, then yeah, it's going to be that's the working formula. The formula of oh well, we're going to get these foreign investors to set up something. The foreign investors are doing that so that they can get something, or get more than the people on the ground. And the point is that if you're humble, and like even if you are an investor and you're humble enough, maybe possibly you'll say, you know what, I could do this for other people. Because I'm going to get something more from helping these people than just helping myself.
You thought.
Right, like that's the trick right there, is that they entice you with potential tropes. And I'm not even trying to like I love the Book of Power, but the book that hones in on this was written by Claude Anderson, Black Labor, White Wealth, or Powernomics, where he talks about the fact that politicians respond to the economies up under them. So if you don't have an economic base, you're never going to be a part of the in-group. Don't fall for the trick. Don't serve at somebody else's table. It's not worth it. Go build your own, no matter what they tell you.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah. You gotta build your own. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
paid by the Claude Anderson Initiative.
You said what?
I was saying paid by the Claude Anderson Group. No.
Right? I'm like, yo, I'm a Claude Anderson pay. All right. No, I'm just messing. All right, let's keep going. The question of truth must also be taken into consideration. For the people, only fellow nationals are ever owed the truth. No absolute truth, no discourse on the transparency of the soul can erode this position. It answers to the lie of the colonial situation. The colonized subject responds with a lie. In answer to the lie of the colonial situation, the colonized subject responds with a lie. Behavior toward fellow nationals is open and honest, but strained and indecipherable toward the colonists. Truth is what hastens the dislocation of the colonial regime, what fosters the emergence of the nation. Truth is what protects the natives and undoes the foreigner. In the colonial context, there is no truthful behavior, and good is quite simply what hurts them most. So this is pretty interesting. He's saying you have to change your behaviorisms with the colonialists. You have to be antagonistic and hostile with them. You have to lie to them. Okay? You have to lie to them, but be truthful to your own people. And he's saying that truth is what protects us and undoes the foreigners when we do that. Now, what's interesting is that if you really look into how we behave among ourselves, like particularly like let's say in America, right? Because that's where I grew up, right? We tend to be dishonest with ourselves and honest with white folk. Or white folk force us to be honest with them, Like you sit up in that courtroom and they say, hey, look, perjury is like one of the biggest crimes you could have. Like one of the biggest things, one of the worst things you could do in the court system is get caught in a lie,
Punishable by the law.
Yeah, exactly. It's punishable by law. Everything you say or used to do, So if you do not, they force you to be truthful with them, And not just that, it's like we as a community. I remember because I don't like this guy either. But Nearly Fuller Jr. He had this.
Who do you like, bro? You always talk about who you don't like. That's like other than Garvey.
Well, I mean, I like Garvey. Oh, never mind. But no. But Nearly Fuller Jr. He has this. He said this nice thing where he was like, we have this like whole campaign against snitching. He's like, no, if somebody's in your community doing something bad, then you should snitch on them, because they're not being helpful. Like you shouldn't help people hide if they're doing something bad to your people, like if they done broke into some woman's car, like woman from your neighborhood, right? They broke into her car, right? Then they're not necessarily going to be a productive member of the community, and you should turn them in. Now, of course, I'm just like, still don't really like these colonizers. Still don't like putting the colonizers in, but I understand that it's the colonizer who's going to.
One day you walk in, hey, where my TV at?
Exactly. Exactly. It says it, but I still understand that the colonizer is the one who's putting the laws, like putting the law together. Now, here's the thing. There's this brother named I think Malik Shabazz. He's like the leader of the New Black Panther Party. New Black Panther Party was the one that Khalid Muhammad started, right? And he's like one of the catchphrases that they use is black laws for black people, Just this idea that black people should follow laws, our own black laws. Now the thing is that it's a nice idea, it's a good idea, but again, like in the situation of somebody breaking into your car, who are you gonna call?
You need a black judicial system. You need black.
Exactly. You don't have a black judicial system. You don't have a black, and even if you did have it, like at the end of the day, anybody could dismantle it. You know what I mean?
Right. We have examples of other people groups that establish a system of judgment, rewards, and punishment that we refuse to emulate. That's fine, but that goes back to the idea that we need to establish who our people are. Because during the 80s, when crackheads was breaking into their mama's houses and people were warring with their neighbors because of this substance that had been introduced into the community on a mass scale, we didn't have any people. And right now, we're dealing with a change or a chaos management team. And when you need a change or a chaos management team, your first job is to identify who your people, who your leaders are. And unfortunately, those people have to be what I like to call martyr heretics. They have to be pseudo self-sacrificing. They have to make the amoral decisions that are going to pull us forward. And if you're in that position, you have to ensure that this person's moral compass is righted towards the most good for the most Africans. But you have to understand that is a part of the process.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. That's the issue. It's like, how do you guarantee that without an educational system? Without like the issue is, and this is why I liked back in the day when I used to have meetings. When you have regular meetings with people, you get a better sense of who they are, right? Nowadays, you don't have any meetings with anybody. Well, I mean, unless you are in an organization, you're not meeting with folk, right? Unless you're in an organization or another type of organization, a church, you're not really meeting with folk. So it's like, at that point, how do you trust somebody? How can you trust other people in your community if you're not organizing with them, if you're not meeting with them regularly? You just meet somebody and you're like, oh, you sound like you have a nice, good... Because, like, I saw... like I said, I saw James Small a long time ago. I actually wrote that I never trusted the dude. At one point, I did. At one point, I saw the other dude, Charles Brown. At one point, I did trust these people.
Right.
At one point, a lot of us trusted Al Sharpton. At one point, a lot of us trusted Farrakhan. A lot of us trusted, like you said, Claude Anderson. A lot of us trusted a lot of these people at one point. You understand?
Obama. No.
Oh yeah, no, you ain't not true. You know that. We did, man.
Emotional choice.
Shit, nah, man. I was rapping a song. I was Obama. that obesity. Come on, all right, yeah. I mean, like at one point you trust these people, but if you're not really meeting with them, but other people are, then you done messed up. You know what I'm saying? That's why I stress organizing. Because I tell you, when I was meeting with these people, it was like, yeah. I mean, some of them was no good. I'm not gonna hold you. But some of them, yeah. Like, you really trusted these people. Like these are the people. Like some people be like, hey, I want to watch your. I can watch your son while you doing this. And you're like, yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I never did.
Relax.
I never did, but like, these are the people. Yeah, because them. These are good people. But yeah, that's what it is. Sorry.
We also know you can. We also have to identify that all people. A broken clock is right twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can hone this in on the fact that this is your moment to be right, you know what I mean? Like you said, the educational system and organizing and things like that. A broken clock is right twice a day. That's why we need liberation theology. We need liberation education. We need liberation economics. We need these things in place because a broken clock is right twice a day. All of these people have a very small aspect of the global picture that you need to build and structure your own organization, because many of the organizations that I've been a part of, I've not met one yet that has been effective. Okay, and it's like they either get lost in the muck and the mire of their own personal politics and identity, or they're already sold out, bought and paid for by somebody else because they're trying to figure out a way to compromise with the things that they're trying to take that need to be reformed or revolutionized.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the sad part, but you know, sure, that's the sad part. We gonna go on though, and hopefully we touch back soon. But I know we kind of taking a. I didn't even know it was gonna take this long, but yeah. All right, we have seen therefore that the I don't even know what this word is. I should have looked it up. Manichaeism that first governed colonial society is maintained intact during the period of decolonization. In fact, the colonist never ceases to be the enemy, the antagonist, in plain words, public enemy number one. The oppressor, ensconced in his sector, creates the spiral of domination, exploitation, and looting. In the other sector, the colonized subject lies coiled and robbed and fuels as best he can the spiral, which moves seamlessly from the shores of the colony to the palaces and docks of the metropolis. Sorry, I don't know what he's talking about. In other sectors, the colonized subject lies coiled, robbed, and fuels as best he can the spiral, which moves seamlessly from the shores. Yeah. Sorry a second. Creates the spiral of domination, exploitation. Yeah. In this petrified zone, not a ripple on the surface, the palm trees sway against the clouds. The waves of the sea lap across against the shore. The raw material comes and goes, delegitimizing the colonist's presence. While more dead than alive, the colonized subject crouches forever in the same old dream. The colonist makes history. His life is an epic, an odyssey. He is invested with the very beginning. We made this land. He was a guarantor for its existence. If we leave, all will be lost, and this land will return to the Dark Ages. Opposite him, listless beings, wasted away by fevers and consumed by ancestral customs, compose a virtually petrified background to the innovative dynamicism of colonial mercantilism. So actually, yeah, this is actually a pretty interesting point. So, in fact, the colonist never ceases to be the enemy, the antagonist. In plain words, public enemy number one. So yeah, the colonist is always public enemy number one. But here's the reality. All right, here's what it is. He is invested with the very beginning. So the colonists, again, you know, we made this land idea, right? That's something that we hear, you know, African Americans talk about America, right? And yet, that's something that you hear regarding. Like that's something you would expect to hear from this white boy in America, you know? But this is what he's saying. This is what Fanon is saying. He's saying that particularly in Africa, which I think it also applies to America, but particularly in Africa, well, although he's only really talking about Algeria, but particularly in North Africa or Algeria or whatever, the colonist is saying, we made this land. And if we leave, all will be lost, and this land will return to the Dark Ages. So this is really, it comes back to this question of what is the benefits of being a citizen of a colony, or what is the benefits of being a citizen in a nation, right? And the reality is that if the quote unquote oppressors leave, right, the land is the land that you're on. The way of living that you've come accustomed to, right, would be gone as well. You know, I think actually Amos Wilson said the same thing. Said something similar where he says, you know, basically the white man is feeding you, clothing you, giving you the energy, putting up the satellites. He's doing all the stuff. He's filtering your water. He's doing so and so forth. And whereas, yeah, you might say, hey, he's the enemy. We got to get rid of him, right? We could do without him, right? The way of living that you know and the way of living that you like is in fact a part of what he designed. You know, said differently, there was this one point in time where I was pointing out to these, I was talking to people on the streets, you know, passerbys or whatever, you know, trying to get them to come to my meeting or whatever. And, you know, you're always trying to talk to people randomly, you know, to stop them and, you know, engage them so they can show and so forth. And sometimes when you engage people, you just say the wrong thing and they let you know, you know? So at some point I say, hey, look, you know, we should boycott this grocery store. You know, it's like a white grocery store inside of a black community, right? So you're like, hey, we should boycott this grocery store. You know, and he's like, okay, so where would I get the food? Right? Where would we get food if we blah, blah, blah? And I was like, well, you could always, you know, get it from a tree, I guess, right? like get the same fruit from a tree. And he's like, I'm not gonna be picking no trees, like, and that's it. And it's like, yeah, the modern human, like a lot of us understand, farming could get you food. You know what I mean? Picking fruit from trees could get you food. Fishing could get you food. But none of us, or very few of us, really want to be farmers, and or foragers and fishermen. Maybe there are some people that want to do that stuff, right? And there are definitely some black people and obviously some white people who do that stuff, right? And they might do it, and white people might do it on an industrial level, where they're driving tractors down fields instead of like kneeling and picking up stuff, or they have like huge nets and huge boats to get fish instead of like fishing rods, right? But the point is that if you get rid of this hugely, like you're essentially you're in this hugely mechanical environment, right? But you're not the mechanics, right? And that is an issue, because it tells you, because there was another time I told this brother to like boycott this Target, I guess, in this particular area in Brooklyn, and he was like, and he said the same thing, how will we get anything to eat? Like, they feed us. And I was like, wow, that sounds so defeatist. But at the same time, I listen to people, right? And it's the reality that you're living in this mechanical existence. A lot of the urban centers that you're in are too far, like they're concrete jungles in the sense that they're too far from anything that could be agriculturally sustainable to their livelihood, right? You would still need trucks and vehicles to ship the food into those areas. If you stopped those roads or whatever, then the people would starve. You understand? If you destroyed the roads, or the trucks are delivering the food to these grocery stores, the food and there was no oil, let's say the oil runs out, right? The people will starve. And that's the sad part. So who's making these big oil deals with these Middle Eastern countries? Who's going to war with these Middle Eastern countries for cheaper oil? And of course we condemn them for it. But are we really condemning them for it? You understand? And that's one of the issues of us, like of the colonial situation, where and of course, who really made the land in a sense. Did we play a part? Sure. But are we cutting deals with Iran? No, the white folk are doing that. And so all of us, well, not me obviously, but all of us, we go back to drive our cars, and we have oil that came up to a gas station and this oil came from the earth deep in Iraq or whatever, right?
That's synthetic oil. Go ahead.
You said what?
My car is synthetic, but go ahead.
Synthetic oil? You got that electric car, man. You got that Tesla. I'm just saying, you got that Tesla, man. You do even better, right? But yeah. The point being though is that you get this energy, you get this stuff from an infrastructure that was built before you. That if you like, even though and that's really comes back to the benefit thing. It's like, well, sure, sure, are they exploiting you? Absolutely, but why are they exploiting you? Why are you going along with it? Well, partly because I want to be able to drive to my kid's party tomorrow. And I want to get balloons, the plastic. Where are you getting this plastic from? The plastic is made in this other part of the country, or maybe even another part of the world, and all that kind of stuff. It's a huge system that is running because of the colonists. And as even Fanon is saying, the colonized are kind of being wasted away by fevers and consumed by ancestral customs. Just kind of watching, but also, understanding, yeah, there's exploitation, but, the colonist doesn't really care. The colonist makes history and he knows it. And because he refers constantly to the history of his metropolis, he plainly indicates that here he is the extension of this metropolis. The History, he writes, is therefore not the history of the country he is despoiling, but the history of his own nation's looting, raping, and starving to death. The immobility to which the colonized subject is condemned can be challenged only if he decides to put an end to the history of colonization and the history of despoilization in order to bring to life the history of the nation, the history of decolonization. So again, like only when the decolonized actually, only when the colonized actually challenge the colonies, right? Like literally, you forsake the colony, and you say no, like that's. But again, you're not. It's really going to be difficult to get a lot of our people to do that. And so, like, if we can actually go back to what the sister was saying about a lot of the organizations are not working in America, and it's like, well, yeah, there's going to be very few organizations that are actively trying to destroy the colonial situation in America, you know? And if they do, however, then yeah, the state is going to come down on them, you know? Like you have to run underground. Oh, not run underground, but you have to, you'll have to start being a part of a guerrilla warfare effort. And the only issue though is that a lot of African people are not going to be on your side. You know, a lot of our people are not going to be on your side if you're like shooting at the white Americans, you know, if you're shooting at the white Americans and attacking different, they're not on your side, because a lot of African Americans like America, particularly now. You know, a lot of them like America, and there's not much you can do about that, because America has like this great PR, you know. To the point where, this is something that we really don't, we underestimate, but Carter G. Woodson pointed out that people from Europe would travel to America to find out like the secret of how white America made Black America so docile, you know, like how they made Black America so like just like them, you know, because it's just
Germany.
You said Germany?
Yeah, you know, like that's their propaganda system. They modeled it after what the U.S. was doing.
Yeah. The Nazis said, "Whoa, we could do this." Like, whoa, you got like, because it really is. Because you got to think about who African Americans or even just Africans in general are. You know, like there are people who were stolen from another country, right, from another land, from another way of being, and they're not as resentful as you would think, you know, particularly not, especially not today. And this is Carter D. Woodson talking about 100 years ago. 100 years ago, he's like, they weren't that resentful. And so today it's like, yeah, forget it. Like it's so much better now, you know, than 100 years ago. So, I mean, like nominally. So it's just, yeah, like white people did something, and yeah, people are just kind of, you know, like yeah, you would expect, like honestly, you would expect more vitriol. Like if you were white, you would expect more vitriol, you know, because the white people do is they had colonies, and like let's say even during the same 100 years, they had colonies and they lost them to like violence. You know, like yeah, they lost them to violence because yeah, nobody was. No, IT was much before, yeah. But like we're talking about like 1960s. So the 1960s has civil rights movement in America, but it's like legit.
It was like just like one after the other, like almost every other month, different.
Yeah, exactly. A different African nation rebelled, like so on and so forth.
Like maybe like places in Southeast Asia too.
Yeah, exactly. India, Asia, all over. China rebelled, you know. So like they saw a weakness in World War II, and that was so on and so forth. But then of course here in America, it was like people bragging about fighting for America. It was just weird, you know. Like I tell you, if you were white, you'd be like, damn, what the fuck y'all do? You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, you know what I'm saying? What you say?
What did we do to make them not mad?
Exactly. Like what? Like how do y'all get these people not mad? That's the question. All right. So a world of compartmentalized, machinating, and petrified, a world of statues. The statue of the... I don't know what Manichaean is. All right. So a world compartmentalized, Manichaean, and petrified, a world of statues. The statue of the general who led the conquest. The statue of the engineer who built the bridge. A world cocksure of itself, crushing with its stoniness the backbones of those scarred by the whip. That is the colonial world. The colonial subject is a man penned in. Apartheid is but one method of compartmentalizing the colonial world. The first thing the colonial subject learns is to remain in its place and not overstep its limits. Hence, the dreams of the colonial subject are muscular dreams, dreams of action, dreams of aggressive vitality. I dream I am jumping, swimming, running, and climbing. I dream I burst out into laughing. I am leaping across a river and chased by a pack of cars that never catches up with me. During colonization, the colonized subject frees himself night after night between 9 in the evening and 6 in the morning. Okay. The colonized subject will first train his aggressiveness sedimented in his muscles against his own people. This is the period when black turns on black, and police officers and magistrates don't know which way to turn when faced with a surprising surge of North African criminality. So again, he's saying that black people are, like, as colonial subjects, they become more aggressive. They want to be more active. They're limited. They want to exert their bodies, and they do it against other black people. And again, this is interesting because you said what?
No, I was saying according to Google, Manichaeism is a dualistic religious system with different Christian, Gnostic, and pagan elements. It deals a lot with dualism, apparently, like light and dark.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
it's a light and it's like one of those. Gotcha. All right. So yeah. So criminality. So what's interesting here is that he's talking about black and black crime in North Africa in the 1960s. You understand? Like this is like Algeria. You know, like there's not even that many of us in there. You know, you know what I mean? I mean, there's obviously a lot, but still.
Brown on brown over there.
Yeah, shit. You know what I'm saying? But like he's like even there. This is what the colonial situation does. So like when you see something like Chicago or wherever or Brooklyn or whatever, right? You're seeing something that's created, like it's systemic. You know, it's created by the system, and the police and the magistrates are looking on like, what? But that's what it always was, you know? We shall see later what should be made of this phenomenon. So he says later, and he has a footnote, Colonial Wars and Mental Disorders, chapter 5. All right. So confronted with the colonial order, the colonized subject is in a permanent state of tension. The colonized world is a hostile world, a world which excludes, yet at the same time incites envy. We have seen how the colonized always dream of taking the colonist's place, not of becoming a colonist, but of replacing him. This hostile, oppressive, and aggressive world bulldozing the colonized masses represents not only the hell they would like to escape as quickly as possible, but a paradise within arm's reach, guarded by ferocious watchdogs. I want to say this, I keep telling you guys this, but this is Native Son. So that's one of the brothers I like, Richard Wright. He writes this book called Native Son. It's about this. It's about a young man. They like, the reason why I read it was they said it was like the first Malcolm X. You know what I mean? But basically, it's a fiction book. But it's Richard. They said the first Malcolm X. You know, but
first Malcolm X.
Like basically.
What was this, 1800 something?
No, it was like 1900 something. But no, it's just like a play on like how Malcolm X was like a black man, like a good man, you know. And see, I like Malcolm X too. All right, so but the thing is,
you like somebody other than garbage, all right?
All right, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm just saying that so you can get off my case. But no, I'm joking. I like Malcolm X. All right, but anyway, but like the thing is, Richard Wright. Yeah, so in Native Son, the whole story starts off with this young brother getting a new job, but at first he's like kind of like a petty thief, you know, and he's like stealing from this white restaurant or this white store or whatever, but his family like owes back rent to a particular rich white businessman. But the main part of the story, one of the most critical scenes, is the fact that when he's
spoilers.
You said what? No, not spoilers. It's just like the first scene or whatever. But he's laying on like he's sitting down outside, and he's looking up in the sky, and he sees an airplane flying overhead, and he kind of like reaches up, like, and he's like, in his mind, he's thinking, he wishes that he could fly, but he knows that as a black person, he can't. But the point is that it comes back to this, the colonist world is a hostile world, the world which excludes, yet at the same time incites envy. Here, you're adjacent to this white man's different world, a world where he can fly airplanes, a world with airplanes, which are, if you ever go, like if you guys fly, what it's pretty impressive. It's more impressive than a car, but
you're literally like sitting in the air. This is interesting when you think about it that way.
Yeah, like it's this huge, because it's how do you get this thing off the floor? You don't know. You don't know.
It's thousands of tons of pounds and everything.
Exactly, it's heavy. You can't lift it, but it's flying in the sky all the way to another freaking state or another country. But then in this world, you can't fly it. You can't even go on it. Like back in the days, you probably couldn't even go on an airplane. Maybe, I don't know. But the point is that you're a young.
So the early days, but when air flight and everything.
Yeah, you're a young man. Maybe you could have flew. I'm not gonna hold you, but you're a young man. You probably yourself, poor young black man, you probably can't fly. But meanwhile, there are some 5-year-olds flying all over the world. Not even sitting in their seats, just getting more than you because they have white skin. So you look at this world with hostility, but also envy, because you wouldn't mind being able to fly around the world. You wouldn't mind being able to vacation with your kid.
Luxuries that anyone would,
Yeah.
like that.
And here's the thing. Actually, I want to say this, though. There was this video. Ayi. So here's this video where he visits Namibia, and I decided to watch it. Whatever.
This dude visit everywhere.
Yeah, that dude. I don't know how he does it with COVID, but whatever. With coronavirus going on, but he's.
Now you're gonna ask. It's not find out.
What you say?
I said I don't even find out how he does it.
Yeah, but like here's the thing though. At one point he's. Oh, what you say, sis? No, I thought the sister. I thought.
Oh, I was listening, but I was just gonna piggyback off of that sense of flying thing. That sense of flying and that sense of envy is why people came back and listened to so many of the Tuskegee Airmen, because it was such an elite thing to do. That's why a lot of black leaders that you look at from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, had that distinction, because it was that step of we envy them because they're doing something and they got to break through the veil and the barrier that's put on the rest of us. Like in Michigan, Coleman A. Young was a really controversial black mayor, and he was a Tuskegee Airman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And plus he killed some white folks, so you gotta listen to him. You know what I'm saying? If he gonna kill white folk, what he gonna do to you? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think remember any of them actually died in warfare. They all survived too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's why they were there.
Right.
So,
yeah.
They were legends, yeah.
Well, that's one side of it, but from the other side of it, when we think about the Askari and we think about the training mechanisms that go in place where they take over and co-opt the black mind and black eyes to give the world a white view, then it makes sense that they wouldn't have been put in these positions, because they are more useful and strategic, having a broader reach over a mass of people versus sacrificing them in some feudal war effort that is only for empire.
Yeah.
So I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, that's facts. What was it? So, yeah, Richard Wright, and so I recommend people read that though. Native Son, that's a good book.
What about Megaloman?
Megaloman.
I said Invisible Man.
Oh, ain't nobody better than the media, man. Nah, I actually never read Invisible Man.
I only read a few pages in high school.
Yeah,
I bought it recently. I don't know if I'm going to ever read it though.
Hey, you might as well. I mean, you bought it.
I got a lot of books I ain't read yet.
I know. I got a whole stack. All right, so let's see. Well, how far did I get? Did I get? I don't think I did. All right, so let's see. North Africa. Oh yeah. So we shall see later what should be made of this phenomenon. Confronted with the colonial order the colonized subject is in a permanent state of tension. The colonized world is hostile, blah, blah, blah. We have seen how the colonized always dream of taking the colonial's place, not of becoming the colonist, but replacing him. This hostile, oppressive, and aggressive world bulldozing the colonized masses represents not only the hell they would like to escape as quickly as possible, but a paradise within arm's reach guarded by ferocious watchdogs. The colonist subject is constantly on his guard. Confused by the myriad signs of the colonial world, he never knows whether he is out of line. Confronted with a world configured by the colonizer, the colonized subject is always presumed guilty. The colonized does not accept his guilt, but rather considers it a kind of curse, a sword of Damocles. But deep down, the colonized subject acknowledges no authority. He is dominated, but not domesticated. He is made to feel inferior, but by no means convinced of his inferiority. He patiently waits for the colonist to let his guard down and then jumps on him. The muscles of the colonizer are always tense. It is not that he is anxious or terrorized, but he is always ready to change his role as game for that of the hunter. The colonized subject is a persecuted man who is forever dreaming of becoming the persecutor. The symbols of society, such as the police force, bugle calls in the barracks, military parades, and the flag flying aloft, serve not only as inhibitors, but also as stimulants. They do not signify stay where you are, but rather get ready to do the right thing. And in fact, if ever the colonized subject begins to doze off or forget, the colonist's arrogance and preoccupation with testing the solidity of the colonial system will remind him on so many occasions that the great showdown cannot be postponed indefinitely. This impulse to take the colonist's place maintains a constant muscular tonus. It is a known fact that under certain emotional circumstances, an obstacle actually escalates action. So this is actually pretty interesting. This is obviously a positive outlook on people who are colonized, saying that we're always we're always looking to take over the colony, right? Maybe. But this is also the perspective that white people have of colonized people, in the sense of, it might be his wife telling him this, right? But it might be, but like how we sometimes say,
shots fired.
You said what?
Shots fired.
Shots. No, it's like that's what it is though. It's like white people, because sometimes we hear a black person getting killed, and a white person said, "Well, I fear for my life," right? And you're like, "How did you fear for your life?" And he's like, "Well, I feared for my life," right? But that's really what it is. It's like they're looking at you, right, as you're trying to take this over. You know what I mean? You want to run this system. You want to get rid of us. And you know, a lot of African Americans are saying, What are you talking about? We don't want revenge. And the white boy is in disbelief. You know? Like one of the recurring things inside of the literature, like the old literature in America, in white America, was that black people want revenge for slavery. You know? And one of the issues is that it doesn't really seem like black people want revenge for slavery, but it's just so unfathomable to everybody else, you know, like it's just unfathomable, to the point where no, you know, people do not, cause it's just like again, what we're seeing right here, where it's like, hey, the colonized is just waiting to jump on the colonizer, right? That may have been the case in North Africa, right? It may have been the case. I don't know if it were, because I'm coming from a kind of American perspective, where I'm just like, maybe they just want to live in the colony, right? But maybe it's not. Like I don't even know. I couldn't even say. But that's what he said. He's reporting that, yeah. But I feel like maybe some people definitely do want to just jump on the white folk, right? Jump on the police or whatever. Maybe some people do, but like I said, I couldn't even tell you, because he saw it. So maybe he's saying what he saw. Maybe he's saying what this white woman was expressing to him, like, oh yeah, we fear that you guys are just gonna jump on us, right? But I couldn't tell you. But that's what he's saying. All right, so the relationship between the colonist and the colonized is one of physical mass. Against the greater number, the colonist pits his force. Oh yeah, so that's another thing that happens inside the colonies. That's not happening in America. That's one of the issues. One of the big problems is that in America, the African is the minority, you know, or is the minority population, the smaller population. Whereas in Africa, the Africans are the majority. And so Yeah, so it's like the relationship between the colonists and the colonized is one of the physical mass. Against the greater number, the colonist pits his force. The colonist is an exhibitionist. His safety concerns lead him to remind the colonized out loud, "Here I am the master." The colonist keeps the colonized in a state of rage, which he prevents from boiling over. The colonized are caught in the tightly knit web of colonialism. We have seen how, on the inside of the colonialists, achieve only a pseudo petrification. The muscular tension of the colonized periodically erupts into bloody fighting between tribes, clans, and individuals. So yeah, like again, like that's one of the disadvantages that African Americans and Afro Brazilians have. Oh, and of course, Afro British people, Africans in Europe and Africans in Asia, is that you're now in you're now the minority in another person's country. Why?
I could have sworn Brazil was majority black, unless I'm mistaken on the demographics.
No. Brazil has a lot of black people, but
Okay.
it's majority white.
I noticed that like in the diaspora they have the most population.
Yeah, it's like well, allegedly it's like 60 million maybe. But Brazil has like a population of let me see, and of course it depends on like what you call black.
That's true. That's variable.
But no. But so Brazil has a population of 211 million. So
That's a lot. Wow.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, you have this huge, like, let's say 60 million black people if you call everybody black, right? Like if you consider every one drop black, but then Brazil has
Well, that'd be like a quarter of them.
yeah, exactly. But then Brazil has 200 million people.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you're still vastly outnumbered. It's the same with America. Like yeah, it's the same with America. Where you have 300 million people in America and like 40 million of them are black. Again, by the one drop, but
That's true.
40 million are black, and then you have, but like 200 million of them are white. You get what I'm saying? So it's just a huge number. And then now Latinos are like a higher population than that too. So higher population than black people in America. So it's just like a minority two people. At the individual level, we witness a genuine negation of common sense. Whereas the colonist or police officer can beat the colonized subject day in and day out, insult him, and shove him to his knees, it is not uncommon to see the colonized subject draw his knife at the slightest hostile or aggressive look from another colonized subject. And this is why I noticed when I was younger too. It's like they were killing people for stepping on your shoes, like in Brooklyn, to the point where like I was apologizing.
Tim's.
You said, yeah. Well, I said shoes, didn't I? All right, no, but like,
Yeah, I'm legally wearing Tim's.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's the only kind of shoe there is. Like what other kind of shoe is there? No, but for real though, like they were killing people for stepping on shoes. Like I was apologizing to people if I accidentally stepped on their shoes, because well, I was doing some punk stuff, but also it's like, yeah, you legit, like if you did not, because it's like because I mean it makes sense. Somebody steps on your foot and doesn't even say anything. Now, I'm not going to say it makes sense to kill them, but it's like, bruh, like, yeah, say sorry or something. And then they're like, I ain't going to say sorry.
Bad, bro.
No, exactly. They say, they're like, I'm not going to say sorry, whatever. Your shoes is dusty anyway.
Not even that deep, bro.
Yeah.
Just say you're sorry, keep it moving.
But like that's the thing, though. You have this hostility and this aggression, this disrespect, and you're not going to be taking it, like, not from somebody who looked like you. Huh?
No, that's a thing that happened at a specific juncture in our history. And it comes from a scarcity mindset because, like, a lot of those people, like, again, going back to Michigan, Midwestern values. And so, if you $5 shoes that's hanging up at Kmart or the $5 shoes at Family Dollar, right? Well, K-Swiss were $50, back in the
Nah, he rich.
Oh my God.
Nah, he rich. He rich.
So, right. So, like, even then, it's like, but if you stepping on my shoes at a time where most people buying $2 or $3, $5, $10 shoes, because Converse used to be a cheap brand, then, right, then, there's this built-up resentment because I had to do something. Like, either I had to compromise my values by being or dating a dope dealer, I had to compromise my values by stealing these, and or in the very best of all circumstances, I am what they would have called a buppy at the time, which is a black yuppie, And these were the black people that were strivers. These were like the generation. This is like the boomers, or that in-between generation where boomers and Generation X kind of mixed and meshed for a while in the 80s. And it's like, oh, we making money, blah, blah, blah. It was right before. Michigan. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If somebody stepped on, yeah, exactly. So it's like somebody stepped on your shoes, like you if you don't apologize, sure. And the thing is this, that's why I like those interesting. I'm experiencing this in the 90s or whatever, right? But this is something that
Air Force Ones, all white.
My Timbs, my dude. I keep telling you Timbs. Right? I know I gotta say Timbs. All right, but I'm experiencing the 90s. But here's what it is like. This is something that was being seen in North Africa in the 60s or the 50s or whatever, right? This is what's being seen then. So it's like there's this systematic creation of hostility and aggression against our own people, you know, and yeah, and we see it like I tell you, even Bit of Medicine said this recently, like whereas like he didn't say the colonists obviously, but he's like, oh yeah, whereas the police can beat the the black people day in and day out, insult them and shove them to their knees, it's not uncommon to see black people draw their knives at the slightest hostile, or draw their guns at the slightest hostile or aggressive look from another colonized black person. In fact, another black person.
Moments.
Yeah, well, the end. Yeah, exactly. This was Boondocks. This was in the Boondocks. Yeah, it's like it's just so systemic, and we're criticizing our people for it. But again, it's not our people. It's the system. It's the colony that you're in. It's the fact that you're in a colonial. It's the fact that you're in a colony. That's what's contorting and distorting the normal behavior of African people. And we see this everywhere we see colonies. You know? Like we see this everywhere we see colonies. And actually, if you pull up the data about, how black on black violence work or whatever, like you'll notice that it's always for the most colonial situations, shout out to, I guess, Xbots who pointed that out, who put out some data for that. But all right, for the colonized subject's last resort is to defend his personality against his fellow countrymen. Internecine feuds merely perpetuate age-old grudges entrenched in memory. By throwing himself muscle and soul into his blood feuds, the colonized subject endeavors to convince himself that colonialism has never existed, that everything is as it used to be, and history marches on. Here we grasp the full significance of the all too familiar head in the sand behavior at a collective level, as if this collective immersion is a fratricidal bloodbath suffices to mask the obstacle and postpone the inevitable alternative, the inevitable emergence of the armed struggle against colonialism. So, of course, this is like basically we were talking about the quote unquote Candace Owens, who are saying, hey, or anybody really who is just like, hey, black people have been fighting black people from time immemorial. Black people have been doing blah blah blah. Like this is the thing that white people are trying to teach us. Because even when I talked about earlier how one of the things that the white American did to the black American, right, is that he made it so that Africa seemed like a terrible place. Like in the imagination of an African American, we were taught to think that Africa was just a terrible place with like kids who needed like a dollar, like a quarter a day to survive. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. These kids need that stuff, or there's a bunch of animals, and people, engaging with like fighting lions. Yeah, people fighting lions for food, or like
swim over here.
Abject poverty, unclean water.
Yeah, like flies.
Babies with distended stomachs that because they were so hungry.
Exactly. Now you give that image to people. You say, hey, look, these are the same people as you. No, this is where we took you from. Yeah, exactly. These are the same people. These are the people we took you from, right? Then suddenly you don't want to like you actually have a respect for the person who took you from that. You know what I mean? Like if I'll say it this way, right? In fact, let's say Obama.
That's a
Obama.
strong word.
You said what?
Respect now. That's a strong word. You got respect for taking me from there.
Well, I mean, like, it's like Obama. Obama's brother is probably, I can't remember, but no. In fact, let's say it this way. It's actually another president. One of the presidents of the United States has this guy. Like, here's his brother. The one with I think he's like the last one to still be living. Nobody remembers it. Carter, I think James Carter or something like that. But
You mean Kennedy? A Kennedy or
no, it's like I think it's Carter. Yeah, I think it's the one after him. Like he has like big buggy eyes.
Oh, you mean the last like president that alive, the oldest president, I guess.
Yeah. He's
that's Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. Yeah. So I think it's Jimmy Carter, or it could even be Bill. Well, I think Bill Clinton too. But one of them has like a brother who's just like a criminal, like in prison. I mean, Bill Clinton does too, right? But it's like, let's say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
You could get your brother out. What you doing?
You said what? No, but like
You could have got your brother out of jail.
Nah, but like, that's nepotism. You know that. But anyway, but like, what I'm saying is that. Yeah, no, exactly. Like Joe Biden and his son is dope. His son, right? But he did get his boy out of jail. He was locking everybody up for dope, but he got his kid out of jail. So you can't front. But anyway,
your son that's on drugs.
What is this, man? All right. But like the thing is that if there was somebody in their past, let's say Bill Clinton, his brother, whatever, right? Somebody in their past that helped Bill Clinton out, or helped Bill Clinton from the path that his brother was on, right? Then Bill Clinton, becoming president or whatever, will be grateful to that individual. You know what I'm saying? Will be respectful, will be, and so that's what this white boy does. Like, part of the educational system that you go through in America is letting you know, hey, you know what? We helped you out. Now this is before the internet, so if you wanted to see Africa, you had to like open up a dictionary. They get to open up an encyclopedia or whatever, or like some book. And this was before like bookstores was like what we know today. You know what I mean? So it was difficult. Nah, well, Barnes & Noble didn't even know. Barnes & Noble wasn't. But like, exactly, Books a Million. But like, even back, no, there was no websites, my dude. What's wrong with you? There were no websites back in the day. It was like you legit. I mean, there were bookstores, but like you, if you wanted black knowledge, you had to go to a black bookstore. But you didn't know about no black bookstores unless you happen to be in that neighborhood that it was popping. So like there were only white bookstores, and there were only libraries, and the libraries. What I picked up on later was that the libraries were hiding books too. Like they had the books, but they were hiding them. So yeah, like it was pretty difficult to not get that impression. Like you would have to have engaged personally with a black organization or a black library or a black bookstore, but like it's very rare. It's like very coincidental for you to engage personally with that kind of stuff. So yeah, like you pretty much you would have to have a bad image of Africa. Like you didn't know that Africa was like a modern city. Really, it would be pretty difficult to know. I mean, yeah, it'd be pretty difficult to know. So that's the thing. That's like you have this head in the sand. So the reason why I put it out is that you have this head in the sand behavior, this collective level of ignorance, and you look at this fratricidal attacks on. You say, hey, we sold each other, we attacked each other, we so on and so forth. But and it continues on where you really did not respect another black person, because why would you? If white people can set up, the richest nation on the planet, that's what we were taught about America, the richest nation on the planet, then black people have like the poorest nations on the planet. They have like when Haiti had that earthquake, we were like, why didn't they have earthquake proof? Like a large part of the news cycle was, why didn't they have earthquake proof housing? You know what I mean? You said that was a large part of the news cycle. But like that's really what it comes to, you know. That yeah, they make it so that you don't like the other person. Now of course with the internet it's a lot more like, you know, with all those positive images coming out, you know, we don't like hope like the next generation forward is not going to have that head in the sand mentality as severe, but definitely that was a thing, yeah. And it probably was worse during the 60s. You know, the French were probably saying all sorts of stuff, you know. Oh yeah, your leaders sold you out a long time ago, right? Because you didn't see the contracts.
There's a clear difference between French colonialism and British colonialism. I mean, they're similar, but like even the French still subjugate those older French colonies. You go to the now nations now, heavily like they're indebted in a way.
Yeah. French colonialism, British colonialism. This is why it was really interesting that no matter like a lot of times you'll see that African people when they are protesting against colonists or the people, their oppressors or whatever, they specify the national group. Like they specify the particular nation. The only time that you don't really see that is when they're like the minority population, like I guess America and Brazil, where they would actually just say it's white people, you know, oppressing people. And I actually like the white people perspective, but I also understand why you would, because like Dessalines would talk about the French. You know, he'd say, oh yeah, the French are disgusting. The French are so. He wouldn't necessarily say white people, although in a sense he means white people, but it is really just the French that are, that's the enemy.
No subliminal, straight direct dissing.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like no, yeah.
First off.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't actually say anything else after that. You're right. All right. You know, all right. As if this commercial, blah, blah, fratricidal bloodbath suffices to mask the obstacle and postpone the inevitable alternative, the inevitable emergence of the armed struggle against colonialism. So one of the ways the colonized subject releases his muscular tension is through the very real collective self-destruction of the internets and feuds. Oh, sorry. So one of the colonized subject releases, through the self-destruction of the internet's infused. Such behavior represents a death wish in the face of danger, a suicidal conduct which reinforces the colonist's existence and domination and reassures him that such men are not rational. So, like that's what it is. The colonist sees, like that's what with Chicago, you know? The colonist sees that black people are killing each other in Chicago and says, okay, well, that's why we have to be in charge. Because if we're not in charge, you're just going to go kill yourselves. You get what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Like that's the and he's like, because you're not really that rational, or you're not even controlling your own community. Why would I give you more control over your community if you're not even controlling that aspect of your community? So he says the colonized subject also manages to lose sight of the colonists through religion. So he says religion also helps the colonized subject, the colonists. You know, fatalism relieves the oppressor of all responsibility, since the cause of wrongdoing, poverty, and the inevitable can be attributed to God. The individual thus accepts the devastation decreed by God, grovels in front of the colonist, bows to the hand of fate, and mentally readjusts to acquire the serenity of stone. So, of course, he's talking about in certain religions.
I think that depends, though.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying sometimes there are going to be those religious.
Maybe I could see that. You
said what?
In Catholicism specifically, I know historically it was like that a lot.
Yeah. So, that's the thing. So
you have to be like paying your way to heaven, low key.
Yeah, sometimes, because like you'll find that, like you'll always find that, like for instance, I used to talk to people on the streets. I used to try to get them to do whatever, right? And sometimes they'd be like, well, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna pray on it. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna pray on it, or God's gonna find me a way. You know, that kind of stuff. Like that helps the colonists. You know. That helps, like what he's saying is that it helps you lose sight of the colonists.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who that's all they're doing. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people who,
I agree with that.
like it's not all of them who do it, but yeah.
Faith without works is dead in a way. So
yeah, okay.
You're not gonna do some work.
Okay, Pastor.
What you're doing.
Okay, Pastor. But
you send your offering, your tithe to my cash app.
Exactly, yo. Okay, Pastor. Amen. All right. Hey, in a minute.
I'm saying, like, just spiritually too, like, you know, just you can't just like we have our, you know, our own like ancient spiritual systems, but wasn't just like all we did was pray and didn't do any work too. That's what I'm saying essentially.
Oh, some of them you said in the ancient ones. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
I'm saying, like, yeah, you have like that time when you pray, you meditate, etc. But you also put it in work too. That's not all you relied on. You have to show your work in that way. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. So some people like I agree that there are some ways to interpret these things better, but there are some people who do not interpret it that way, and that's what the colonists wanted. What we have to realize is that
I agree with you there.
Yeah, we have to realize that we're not in all of these communities.
Approach.
Yeah, we're not in all these communities, but you know who is in all these communities? The white man.
Them crackers.
Yeah, exactly.
Missionaries are on a mission.
Yeah, exactly. The missionaries are on a mission. They let you know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we don't think about it that way, but missionaries are on a mission. When you look at the Dutch, what was it called? The Indo-Dutch, when they was going out looking for spices and stuff, and they sent out missionaries. Right. They sent out missionaries. That's how they amassed their wealth. There are several stories on German websites that talk about the fact that, these people came out with quote-unquote Christian ideas and things of that nature, and they saw the profit available to them in the tea and in the spice and in the sugar cane, and they were converted to being profiteers and capitalists. Religious perspective. Well, what we deal with today is a person who wants to continue to use that mission, and purpose, but they don't even want to go off into the capitalist venture. They just want to captivate your mind and tell you to pay your 10%.
Exactly.
To be subjugated to
pay your 10% and stretch open and go in the missionary position. You understand? like you know what I'm saying? Shit. All right. Anyway, sorry. In the meantime, life goes on, and the colonized subject draws on the terrifying myth that are so prolific in underdeveloped societies as inhibitions from his aggressiveness. Malevolent spirits who emerge every time you put one foot wrong. Leopard men, snake men. I don't even know what he's talking about right here. All right. Six-legged dogs, zombies, a whole never-ending gamut of animalcules or giants that encircle the colonized with a realm of taboos, barriers, and inhibition far more terrifying than the colonialist world. So wait a second. Life goes on. The colonized subject draws on the terrifying myths that are so prolific. And it was so you're saying that colonized people have these myths of weird things like snake men, six-legged dogs, so on and so forth. This magical superstructure that permeates the indigenous society has a very precise function in the way the libido works. One of the characteristics, in fact, of underdeveloped societies is that the libido is primarily a matter for the group and family. Anthropologists have amply described societies where the man who dreams he has sexual intercourse with a woman other than his own must publicly confess his dream and pay the penalty in kind, and in several days work to the husband or the injured family party, which proves, by the way, that the so-called prehistorical societies attach great importance to the unconscious. So that's pretty interesting. He's saying that there are some societies, some white anthropologists have reported on some societies that if a man dreams of having sex with another woman, like a woman who he was like another man's wife, then he has to pay, he has to confess his dream and actually work for the husband, and pay a penalty. Now, of course, my thing is that if somebody confesses they want to sleep with my wife, I don't know if I want them working around her. You know what I'm saying? like you know what I'm saying? But okay, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the thing. He's saying that the importance there is there's the importance of the unconscious. Okay. So in scaring me, the atmosphere of myths and magic operates like an undeniable reality. In terrifying me, it incorporates me into the... Oh, so he says, in scaring me, the atmosphere of myths and magic operates like an undeniable reality. In terrifying me, it incorporates me into the traditions and history of my land and ethnic group. But at the same time, I am reassured and granted a civil status and identification. The secret sphere in undeveloped countries is a collective sphere that falls exclusively within the realm of magic. By entangling me in this inextricable web where gestures are repeated with a secular limpidity, my very own world, our very own world, thus perpetuates itself. Zombies, believe me, are more terrifying than colonists, and the problem now is not whether to fall in line with the armor-plated world of colonialism, but to think twice before urinating, spitting, or going out in the dark. So he's just saying that there's like a, this quote unquote mythological function that scares people or whatever. I actually don't know why he's including this, to be honest. All right, so the magical supernatural powers prove to be surprisingly ego boosting. The colonists' powers are infinitely shrunk, stamped by foreigners. There is no real reason to fight them because what really matters is that the mythical structures contains far more terrifying adversaries. It is evident that everything is reduced to a permanent confrontation at the level of fantasy. Actually, this is pretty interesting right here. So I'm not too familiar with this because I'm not a part of the mythical structure of like an African community. But in the American mythical structure of the African community, that's actually comes to it, where we say, because like I have like where we have the Christian where a lot of the Christian religious people will say, well, God will deal with them, or you should be terrified of Yahweh, you should be terrified of, or you should have this like I said the other day, God-fearing man, and the colonists or the white people do not have power as if you compare it to this God, so it's the same thing. And he's just saying that, and the some sort of African, you might be like, oh, well, Damare has more power or so on and so forth. But I don't know the case. But yeah, I see that also in, like people who, she said everything is reduced to a permanent confrontation at the level of fantasy. Is to say that, and a lot of us say this, I mean, I might have said it a few times myself about how, well, I don't know if I said this, but some people, I know people who say this, where it's like, it's about spiritual warfare, and how, and like that's just one of the perspectives to look at things as well. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people say that, yeah. I'm pretty sure I said it one time. But all right, in the liberation struggle, however, this people who were once relegated to the realm of the imagination, victims of unspeakable terrors, but content to lose themselves in hallucinatory dreams, are thrown into disarray, reform, and amid blood and tears, give birth to very real and urgent issues. Giving food to the mujahideen, stationing lookouts, helping deprived families, and taking over from the slain or imprisoned husband. Such are the practical tasks that the people are asked to undertake in the liberation struggle. So, okay, that's good.
Mujahid, is that Arabic?
Yeah, well, again, he's in Algeria,
Oh, man.
Yeah. So Algeria is, I feel like it's mostly, whatever people are there, what they call Berbers, So remember that Africa. So the first revolution, all right, Ghana is the second free country in Africa, right? But the first in what they call, let's say Africa below the Sahara. But the first country that was liberated, yeah. Well, I was not gonna say Sub-Saharan. People have an issue with that.
No, I hear you. I understand why.
But Algeria was the first, So it was like 1951, and I think Ghana was
Ethiopia being free for a minute.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what is this? Ghana was 1954. Yeah, Ghana was 1954 or 1953 maybe. I don't know, but Algeria was just like a little bit before, and so he's talking about. But like that's the other things. Algeria was first. In the colonial world, the colonized affectivity is kept on edge like a running sore flinching from a caustic agent. And the psyche reacts... In the colonial world, the colonized affectivity is kept on edge like a running sore flinching from a caustic agent. And the psyche retracts, is obliterated, and finds an outlet through the muscular spasms that has caused many an expert to classify the colonized as hysterical. This overexcited... Right? I'm just going like whatever. This overexcited affectivity spied on by invisible guardians who constantly communicate with the core of the personality takes an erotic delight in the muscular deflation of the crisis. So yeah, this is just a mouthful. That's why I'm saying, like, this is one of those books you just gotta like.
Bro wanted to show his vocabulary for real.
Like I'm saying, like that's one of the things I don't like about a lot of these books. It's like you show like you're talking about you want to communicate to the people, but it's like I don't know what you just said. I don't know what I just read. You know what I mean? Like, but like exactly. Right? Yeah, all right. So let's just slow it down. In the colonial world, the colonized affectivity Right? Who says that? Effectivity is kept on edge like a running sword flinching from a caustic agent. Okay? So, yeah, a caustic... So you know this. Yeah.
Power, like, it's not as strong as it used to be. Like, they're trying to keep it as much as they can, bro. You could have kept it shorter, bro. Like, you didn't have to go all that out. Like,
yeah. And the psyche retracts is obliterated and finds an outlet through muscular spasms that have caused many an expert to classify the colonized as hysterical. So he's saying, yeah, okay. Right? The overside effectivity.
Y'all acting crazy.
Exactly, right? All right, just do...
They brutishness or whatever.
He said the most. This overexcited effectivity, spied on by invisible guardians who constantly communicate with the core of the personality, take an erotic delight in the muscular deflect. Nah.
Erotic.
Yeah, this brother.
What?
This brother needs to stop. Hey, give me a second. I think my son is in the bathroom. Hold on a second. Let me get him. Hold on a second.
To really disconnect and alienate the audiences that would benefit most from their ideas and writings.
Yeah, I do want to say that too. Yeah, because it's like if I was reading this, like if you like some broke ass, I shouldn't say rap, but if you like,
wow, so disrespectful.
No, I'm just saying like if you just like what.
If you just some broke ass.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you just want to read a book, you like, hey, I gotta go read a book. I want to be well informed. I want to be, whatever. And then you reading. You said what?
I got a couple hours of burn today. Let me check this book out.
Yeah, exactly. You like, okay, I'm reading, and you come across this paragraph right here. Like, you don't want to keep reading. Because it's like, what is he even saying? Like a running sword flinching from a caustic agent. Like,
but the other thing about that, like, if you read through the Christian Bible, they have these really striking, vibrant images that it evokes in your mind of like violence and otherworldly type beings and things like that. Mm-hmm. And lines like that appeal to that side of the mystery, magical thinking aspects of people. And, it's possible that that's what he was intending to evoke. So it's like that line is a counter-revolutionary line, in regards to being able to actually help liberate the people.
Hey, I feel like he just wrote this to get like a pat on his head. I know disrespect to Fanon. No disrespect to Fanon, but...
Trying to illustrate his point, be as vivid to people like to make, similarities. I can understand what he's trying to go.
But like, what are you talking? A running sword flinching from a caustic, like swords flinching from, like what does this even mean? Like,
what he talking about erotic? Yeah, that's weird.
I know, like with the core. He's like invisible guardians who constantly communicate with the core of the personality. Takes an erotic delight in the muscular deflation of the crack. Like what? Like just thought. Like it's like I bet you can't fit erotic and deflation in the same sentence. Watch, hold my beer. You know what I'm saying? Like what you talking about, my guy? All right. Anyway, all right. So another aspect of the colonized effectivity can be seen when it is drained of energy by the ecstasy of dance. Any study of the colonial world, therefore, must include an understanding of the phenomena of dance and possession. The colonized way of relaxing is precisely this muscular orgy, during which the most brutal aggressiveness and I don't know what he's talking. And he's just talking about dancing. But he gotta go this muscular orgy during which this brutal aggressiveness and impulsive violence are channeled, transformed, and spirited away. So I guess he's saying dancing, but like real talk. And here's the thing I want to say too, because there was a sister one time who was telling me that like she used to be a Muslim or something, and she was saying that at its
Sunni or NOI,
like a Muslim, not a black Muslim, a Muslim. Not joking.
not both sides apart.
Like not both sides, but no, I'm joking. All right, but anyway, but no, she was doing this because like she was from like Kenya. I shouldn't, whatever. But she, but like allegedly, a lot of the she told me that the Muslims, the way how they get a lot of black folk, even in Africa, where they were like, oh, Malcolm X turned to Muslim, Islam, And so, like, because Malcolm X is like a respected person across the world, right? And for good reason, right? Like, when you said Malcolm X was looking at this stuff, you're like, oh, let me go look at this stuff. And that's like one of the things I don't like about Malcolm X, but I like him. But that's one of the things I don't like is that he did really turn to that Sunni stuff or whatever, right? But, or Shiite, I don't know. But, I don't know. But the thing is this, I want to say, no, but the Muslims are saying that, no, he's not, like, they particularly stress, no, we're not, like, not the black, like Malcolm X turned to the real Islam, and not the fake Islam, and that's what he did, really. But anyway, let me so the reason why she was saying that Islam is fundamentally anti-black in the sense of they don't, like they say no dancing, no music, no so on and so forth, and yet we know. Exactly. But like we know that black folk are about that music, about that dance, So why I point that out is to say that, here Fanon saying something about the importance of dance to colonized people. And I'm not going to say that white people don't dance. I mean, because they obviously do. I mean, they don't dance, but they be offbeat. Offbeat, But anyway, these days they be going on beat somehow. I don't I'm not sure. It's weird. Like they don't have the fluidity, but like it seems very like rigid. Yeah. It's like they turn on the switch and they start moving. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy. Yeah, they turn on the switch and then they start moving and you're like, are you doing it or is it the circuitry? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. That's like, but like, so she was like, yeah, they're really anti-black by like they're anti-singing, they're anti-this, so on and so forth. And like at the core of it, they know that that's what black people are about, But that's another comment. That's just something I just dropped in. But anyway, yeah. So he says the colonized way of relaxing is precisely this muscular orgy during which the most brutal aggressiveness and impulsive violence are channeled, transformed, and spirited away. Allegedly, that's what the dance is about. The dance circle is permissive circle. It protects and empowers. At a fixed time and a fixed date, men and women assemble in a given place and under the solemn gaze of the tribe launch themselves into a seemingly disarticulated, but in fact extremely ritualized pantomime where the exorcism, liberation, and expression of a community are grandiosely and spontaneously played out through shaking of the head and back and forth thrusts of the body. This guy really does not make the dance sound that I know, damn well they're just dancing, and he's trying to describe it like you really just can't say that, like something, like the shaking of the head and the back and forth thrust of the body. Like this sounds like a dude who can't dance. That's about, This is how you do a squat. Exactly. Everything is permitted in the dance circle. The hillock, which has been climbed as if to get closer to the moon, the riverbank, which has been descended whenever the dance symbolizes ablution, washing, and purification, are taking places.
So many flowery language talking about what the colonialists doing, but making this sound so like a manual on how to do a dance.
This doesn't make any sense. Flowery and expressive, illustrating all the aspects of how the colonialists do this and that. He talk about a dance, all boring now. Like, he's talking about and he complained about how the colonists animalize us or something, but meanwhile, all we do is shake in their head and body thrust. We climb up the hill to get closer to the moon. Like we know damn well we ain't going to no moon by going to the hill. What are you talking about, my guy? Like this moon got nothing to do with that shit, man. You on your ass with that one. All right. Anyway, ablution, blah blah blah. Everything is permitted for, in the fact, the sole purpose of the gathering is to let the supercharged libido and the stifled aggressiveness spew out volcanically. Symbolic killings, figurative cavalcades, and imagined multiple murders. Everything has to come out. The ill humor seep out, tumultuous as lava flows. Yeah, so I mean, like you just said.
Low key, talking about sex this whole time, but this is weird, bro.
It sounds like it, don't it? He's on the libido, like that's not the dance. Yeah, he tripping on that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like he was just criticizing. That's the thing that a lot of these people do. A lot of people do this, where they so-called like for instance, he's saying don't do X, Y, Z. He's like, don't make it so that black people are animalized. Like, don't dehumanize them. right?
Do it. Let's say not as I do.
And then what he does is he's all, oh, they just got this huge libido and they dancing to make their volcanic eruption.
Volcanically,
like what are you
doing?
Like they spew out this great. Like what are you talking about? Like I'm just.
There are a lot of writers that observe and observers, both black and non-black, that observe culture, and they sexualized it because that was all their mind could understand and interpret. Like there are some even African writers in America in the diaspora that saw representation of homosexuality.
The fudge?
Talking about all of through the lens of their experience and not really able to understand and interpret it in the context of the people that were practicing it.
Yeah, it's like this. Like I don't know if y'all went to those I think they're called lounges, but basically it's like places when you reach.
You just act as if you ever been to a lounge.
You said,
right, like what's that, yo?
You said what?
You been to a place called a store? They sell stuff.
No, look. Some people object to going to lounges. You know, like I tell them I want to go to a lounge. They're like, ew, why would you go there? But anyway, but the point is that like there's a song by Farrah Gray, I think his name. No, that's not his name. Maybe possibly, but it's called "Duckin'," right? And it's a Trinidadian song. So it's like at some point, you know, it's like when you see me ducking, right? And so there's like this thing that they do in the dance where when it says ducking, like everybody ducks and like looks around like they're hiding from somebody finding them, you know, dancing. Because, you know, the song talks about people like you going to a dance and then like you telling your boss you're sick. And then your boss happens to show up, and so then you're all ducking. Or if you know your ex-girlfriend contacts you and says, "Hey, I'm gonna be at this dance," and you show up and you're dancing with her, and then somebody says, "Hey, your girlfriend showed up."
Your first mistake was talking to your ex-girlfriend, but continue.
Right.
You said what?
That's your first mistake.
Yeah, well, look, but then your girlfriend shows up, you know. And so you all of a sudden ducking, you know. It's like so the Spanish song is like if you see me ducking, you know.
The question is why is your girlfriend at a club now? Now both of you guys. So what's going on?
Well, apparently she's looking for you. But like the whole point though is that it's like one of those dances, like one of those Caribbean dances, and everybody like when the song comes on, everybody knows what to do. It's kind of like here in America, everybody knows what to do when the electric slide come on, or even there was this other song. Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, right? Like I remember I went to some sort of event, and then that song came on. I didn't know it yet, but everybody just got out, wobble baby, you know, like yeah. But like,
actually, you follow suit.
Exactly, you just like you suddenly stand up. But like, the point is though that like this is something that we do as a people, right? Or like I recently saw the South Africans. They got this cool like little head nod thing. It was pretty awesome. But anyway, but like this is what we do. So you looking at that, and yeah, you know, men and women are dancing on each other sometimes, right? Or men are just standing there, so forth. And that's what it is. Is it some supercharged libido? Is it some stifled aggressive trying? No, it's just black folk. Okay, it's just black folk coming together having fun. You know, like we having fun. We ducking, having fun. It's not. I'm not ducking because I got this intense libido. You know. I mean, sure.
If anything, it's not even. Even if it is not even fun, it's just maybe the spiritual experience. Even it's not anything sexual. Like, bro, was just ODing.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I mean, like, even if it like, and here's the thing too. If you go to a dance,
are you like a rites of passage type of thing?
Yeah, if you go to a dance, yeah,
like, bro, was ODing.
Yeah, exactly. If you go to a dance, maybe you do have some libido thing. Sometimes, like some people might, you know. But you don't have this wild libido that's uncontrolled, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like like come on, like women have discretion, men have discretion, you know, and you sitting down in your little suit and your tux writing about it like, oh, these people are so super, like you just being no disrespect to Fanon, but you being that guy.
At the dance, and of corner.
You being that guy, exactly. Oh well, she's ready to have sex with him because like shut up, man. Like nah, man, that's not what it is.
The voluptuousness of her body is shown.
He's that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just the outsider looking in. Like well, all right. Anyway, Anyway, so let's go. Yeah, that wobble. Yeah, y'all did the wobble song. Y'all did the wobble dance or no?
No, I know the wobble though.
I know the wobble.
But y'all did it or no?
I know the wobble.
I mean, sometimes it comes on that function, maybe.
Look, I'm
you do?
old, okay? I did the Tootsie Roll, okay?
So, wow, that's before my time.
That's a candy.
I know. Right, I did the Tootsie Roll. You know, whoop, there it is. You know, and I did those things.
All right, okay. We could have... So you stopped doing stuff? Like, I saw older people doing the wobble when it came out. Like, so you stopped doing stuff?
You know, when you hang out with different types of people and you're doing different types of things, it kind of transitions. Like, you know, if I was let me say this. If I was at a party and the wobble song came on, I know what to do, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the wobble.
All right, that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. That's what it is.
Dougie or the cat daddy?
For sure.
Dougie the cat daddy.
All of that. I'm going to do all of that. It's not that I'm going to stop doing all of that. It's just that, you know, like...
You just wanted to talk about the Tootsie Roll. Okay. The healing toe.
When he started with electric slide, and I mean, that's for all our time.
Yeah, everybody does that. Everybody does that for some reason.
What y'all doing with flashlight? Come on, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, what you doing? All right, so look, one step further, and we find ourselves in deep possession. In actual fact, there are organized. Look at this. These are organized seances of possession and dispossession, vampirism, possession by jinns, by zombies, and by Legba, the illustrious god of voodoo. Like, what are you talking about? All right, such a disintegration.
That's voodoo, right? Isn't it?
Voodoo? Yeah.
Vodun?
Yeah, Vodun, yeah. Legba was actually Legba was actually pretty respectable. But anyway, but you see this
vampires and
this dude like this is what I'm saying. Like you legit commented because I'm pretty sure he was. I don't remember where he's from, but he's probably like from France or some shit, right?
Yeah, Fran or Dracula for sure. You know that, or the Addams family.
You know what I'm saying? But he probably from France. He come down to Africa, here Algeria. He probably sees like a black group in Algeria, revolutionaries, possibly, and then he's looking at them. He's like, "This is really seances of possession and dispossession." But like that's why I tell y'all all the time. I don't trust misogynists. I'm reading this book. I'm enjoying it. It's all right. You know, you guys are helping it out. Real talk. But like this is the kind of stuff that make me put down these books. Y'all see what it's like when you reading this stuff and then you see this kind of thing where it's like, these are deep possessions. He's talking about dances. He's like one step further and we find ourselves in deep possession. In actual fact, there are organized seances of possession and dispossession. Like, you expect a white boy to say this. You expect a white boy to say this. Yeah, you expect a white boy. You don't expect no black person to be telling you about these dances are vampirism and possession by jinns and zombies and Legba, the illustrious god of voodoo. Like, nah. Anyway, such a disintegration, dissolution, or splitting of the personality plays a key regulating role in ensuring the stability of the colonized world. On the way there, these men and women were stamping impatiently, their nerves on edge. On the way back, the village returns to serenity, peace, and stifleness. So, I mean, stillness. So, basically, just to clarify, he's saying that one of the things that make black people function in these communities is that they're able to go set aside and just practice some sort, like just dance with each other, hang out with each other, you know, be with their own spirituality. Now, the issue is that this foreigner is looking at, you know, like, let's say, you know, because this is actually something that happens today. Like I said about the lounges. Like, the lounge culture, black folk work, you know, day in and day out, you know, 5 days a week, obviously, Monday to Friday. And then Friday night or Saturday night, they go out at 3 a.m., right? Show up at a dance, or like 2 a.m., or let's say 1 a.m., right? Show up at a dance, hang out with strangers, pretty much, for 4 hours, and then go back wherever they're going. Or don't go back where they're going, you know, maybe whatever. But the point is that they go out there and they do that, right? And they return, they're able to deal with Monday. You know, they're able to deal with Sunday. They're able to deal with that kind of stuff. But because
have brunches.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they dance. They forget they're still dancing there, right? But anyway, but like the thing is that they're able to do that and let out some sort of aggression. Like that's what he said. They let out some sort of aggression, some sort of hostility to the colonized order, and come back and return. You know, because like by Friday you're like, man, F this job. Like, what are you doing? You're working me
I
like.
think that's what I feel like when you gotta work like Monday through Friday. You're just trying to get to Friday.
Exactly. And then you could chill in the weekend. But here's the trouble. Like that makes sense. If you humanizing people, that makes sense. You on Friday or Saturday night, you're gonna hang out with other people, you're gonna dance, you're gonna drink, you're gonna so on and so forth. This guy gotta make it, you're getting possessed by zombies every week. Yeah, like what are you talking about?
Another weird aspect of that is like charismatic churches brought that aspect into the Sunday service. And so when I was growing up, okay, what we saw people holy dancing, and we saw people screaming and running and crying and just shaking and gyrating. Like, I get it. It is the Holy Ghost. It is a representation of the Holy Ghost, but it's also another expression because one of the things preachers often say is leave your problems on the altar. You here to get it all out. Like,
exactly.
They evoke that type of energy into the space because they are there to get them back to work Monday through Friday.
Exactly.
Grind. So Sunday morning altar service serves the same purpose.
Exactly.
Culture, and it is not representative or indicative of some type of zombie possession.
Absolutely.
Well, except for that Holy Ghost thing. Yeah, that Holy Ghost thing is tripping though. But that's true though. That's true though, because like real talk, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. Sorry about that, but that's true though. Like some people say that Holy Ghost rhetoric thing does come from Africa. And another thing that we have to understand too, is that the white church and the black church are very different.
Very different,
bruh. Like I think somebody had a funeral in a white church when I was like, I'll tell you, I went to Europe one time and they invited me to this funeral or whatever, right? And I'll tell you, this white church was like boring, but like it ended on time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
It ended on time. It was boring, but it ended on time. In black church, you gotta sing, you gotta dance, you know, lift every voice. You know what I'm saying?
The service at 5.
Yeah, you looking at the clock.
They got a meal. They got the $5 meal down.
You looking at the clock. You looking at the clock because it's like, this is not that important to me. I mean, it's to me.
You got the missionary meeting, you got the usher meeting.
You got exactly, you got the little kid like chill. But I mean, but the thing is, the big difference too is the singing, and the way how they sing too. You know what I mean? Yeah, the way how they sing, like the choir could sing. You know what I mean? Like you sitting down.
And you feel it in your spirit at times too. You can feel like.
You feel it in the spirit sometimes. I don't feel. No, I'm joking. Don't put it on me. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. You almost had me, man. You almost had me saying that, man. They gonna record that. Be like, I thought you said you don't like church. I'm like, what up? You almost got me, bro. Exactly. That was gonna get me. All right. Anyway. All right. So let's see. During the struggle for liberation, there's a singular loss of interest in these rituals. With his back to the wall, the knife at his throat, or to be more exact, the electrode on his genitals. Okay, thanks for the exactness. The colonized subject is bound to stop telling stories.
We done. I'm through.
I'm saying, look, that's a realistic perspective too. Because that's the trouble with us as the people. This is why I'm gonna say this. This is why when I went to writing, I said I'm gonna try to write something that can, like, that's not like this, like that's the verb, the vocabulary is not that advanced, and not just that, the imagery is not that like downcasting, that so like, because that's one of the issues that I have with the quote unquote American scholars a lot of times, and he's not an American scholar, but still, one of the issues I have in this sort of Western scholarship paradigm, is that you always putting black people down, like the way how we, like if we were talking about the lounge or the club or whatever, or the dancing or whatever, right? Like we, like, I mean, I'm not gonna say the club don't have some sexual connotation to it, maybe, possibly, right? But at the same time, if you are going there, you know why you're going there. Let's say you're a single man, you can't really meet people. You working, Exactly. You working 9 to 5. You have you have responsibilities at home. You have to clean. You have to cook for yourself. You have all this kind of stuff. Then once a week,
rest after work.
yeah, you want to meet women. You can't meet them anywhere. There's nowhere else to meet them but on a Saturday night. That's where they're going to go. And so, sure, you go in there to, possibly touch up on a woman or possibly, and women are there to be possibly touched upon. Who knows? But the point is that you're going there because that's where you can meet people, and somebody else who's, sitting down with a white woman somewhere in Europe, or is reporting back to Europe and trying to sound smart somewhere. He's all, the reason why they go to the club is because they're sexual brutes and animals, and that's actually a possibility. This is actually a mindset that a lot of black people have. Because I tell you, one time, because I said I was going to the lounge, and people think it's the club, and for some reason, people also think that's like
different.
I know it's different. Yeah. But it's also like they and then for club they think a club is a strip club or something. So they're thinking that if you say you go to the lounge, yeah, exactly. That's what they think. That's and they degrade and they speak down on everybody who goes to these functions, these strip clubs and the clubs. And it's like you don't have to degrade them. It's not your taste. It's not what you want to do. But it's what somebody.
Conviction right now, bro. You got something on your chest you want to let out.
I'm just saying, like, cause actually I had it was like female cousins actually, but they were like, hey, you want to go down to the strip club? I was like, no, I don't got no money, but I never went, obviously, but like, and I think it's stupid to like, whatever.
You're online.
But like,
I understand you don't want to admit that.
Nah.
No, we gotta talk about
people do it though.
And the fact that they had tea rooms, okay?
Who?
And one of the English
oh, yeah.
tea rooms are not what they sound like. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, gentlemen's club.
Tea rooms, exactly.
Oh,
and,
that's what it's
right.
I'm like, okay, they just go there and drink tea. What is this?
Nah.
Right, that was what I thought. I thought it was like, that was what I thought. But is a house of ill repute. And
exactly.
you have to think about the fact that they put these romanticized names and labels on things that have really abhorrent behavior. So when you're reading these writers, this is for our future, I want you guys to think about the fact that they turn everything upside down. Like you hear people talk about it's an upside down, topsy-turvy thing, and that, you got to think in opposites. Like that's their perspective. Things that don't have these connotations, they're going to describe them with regard to you and us as abhorrent, deplorable, things that are not respectable and or sacred. And when it's something really innocuous regarding their culture, it's probably a house of ill
all the time. Because that's what I noticed when I was like one time walking in Manhattan, I saw a gentleman's club, and I'm like, well, that lady looks like she naked. You know what I'm saying? like that don't make no like you call it. And I mean, here's the thing too. It's like the thing that you call a club is exactly the same thing, but they just don't have the word gentleman's there. Just gentlemen's. It's just a club. But and like club don't really have a negative connotation either per se. But we kind of associated with that. But at the same time, it's like like my thing is this though. I mean, you have to be more sympathetic to the situation. Is what I'm saying. Would I go and pay for a dancer? No, right? But do I understand that a guy who doesn't get dances otherwise would want to pay for it? Yeah, I understand that.
You understand because you've done it before, or you just understand?
I plead the fifth. No, I'm joking.
Something else is that
we got a Fifth Amendment.
A private dance is not a status symbol, like something that was really popular, make it rain and all this other stuff. It is a waste of your money, time, and resources
all the time
to go to a club and just throw money at the dancers, unless you do it like Cash Money did or whoever it was, where they were going there and the strippers had to pay them a cut. So it's like, yeah, this is the easiest, most transactionable way. Right. This is the easiest way for me to wash my money. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm getting, I own the club. I'm going to do this for these dancers. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then they have to give me a cut for having this job. And this is a way for their money to get cleaned up.
Oh, I see.
But it is not a status symbol to do that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I figure it's something that people like a lot of people are depressed. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people are depressed. and because of that, like they do like they want human attention. I don't want to say like it's not me personally, but I can say this though. I know people who like people who are in depression or who are socially deprived, they become desperate, you know? And because of that, like, yeah, they're willing to exchange money for social contact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
Vice versa.
you said what?
Vice versa.
Exchange social contact for money.
Give their time, give
Yeah.
themselves for.
Yeah, exactly. Like when people are desperate, that's kind of like, well, that's the kind of thing that this Western environment creates. It creates people who become socially isolated, you know, and who become depressed and all that kind of stuff. And so they would do that kind of stuff. Just the same as you say, like you get this pent up anger, and it's either the church or the lounge or the club or whatever is making you exert that kind of that anger, or you got this pent up libido. And somebody says, yeah, if you pay me enough money, sure, I'll let your libido.
So this is essentially the source of him writing this way about those experiences and why he's writing it this way. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the language he's using, but
Oh no, he's just doing something. He's something.
I think he's painting with a broad brush and not seeing there's some nuances there too.
Yeah, I mean that's why you want to explain it. But like again, like it would turn off most like if I were like I said, like I once upon a time I try to read some of these books and it's like you reading them by yourself and then you come across this kind of nonsense where it's like this don't make any sense. Why are people reading this? Why are people not critiquing it? And then you end up with I'm not even gonna read this. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. We don't really critique any of the text like that. It's kind of we're heralding them regardless, which I understand why.
Because we're not even reading them. Real talk. Like we're not really reading them. Nobody really read that. You know, read this paragraph.
You put it on a list or you put it on your bookshelf.
Exactly. Are you skipping through and you skimming and you looking? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you reading that?
We wretched.
Oh yeah, that's me. That's me, Franz Fanon. He's a good guy. All right. All right. Let's see. After years, I'm trying to go to page 24. That's why. So I'll probably just read a little quicker. Let's see. After years of unreality, after wallowing in the most extraordinary phantasms, the colonized subject, machine gun at the ready, finally confronts the only force which challenges his very being, colonialism. And the young colonized subject who grows up in an atmosphere of fire and brimstone has no scruples mocking zombie ancestors, two-headed horses, corpses woken from the dead, and jinns who, taking advantage of a yawn, slip inside the body. The colonized subject discovers reality and transforms it through his praxis, his deployment of violence, and his agenda for liberation. We have seen that this violence throughout the colonial period, although constantly on edge, runs on empty. We have seen it channeled through the emotional release of dance or possession. We have seen it exhaust itself in fratricidal struggles. The challenge now is to seize this violence as it realigns itself. Whereas it once reveled in myths and contrived ways to commit collective suicide, a fresh set of circumstances will now enable it to change direction. Basically what he's saying right here, just to clarify, is that, black people are going to, like, in any situation of being colonized, you are going to have violent people. And the main thing is to try to channel it outside toward your enemies. We always talk about this. This is a premise for The Spook Who Sat by the Door, where you have these gangs and you're like, hey, instead of fighting each other, fight this white boy, right? But it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. That's all I would say. From the collective view of political tactics and history, the liberation of the colonies poses a theoretical problem of crucial importance at the current time. When can it be said that the situation is ripe for national liberation movement? What should be the first line of action? Because decolonization comes in many shapes. Reason wavers and abstains from declaring what is a true decolonization and what is not. We shall see that for the politically committed, urgent decisions are needed on means and tactics, direction, and organization. Anything else is but blind voluntarism with the terrible reactionary risks this implies. So actually, this is pretty interesting. From the point of political tactics and history, the liberation of the colonies poses a theoretical problem of crucial importance at the current time. When can it be said that the situation is ripe for a national liberation movement? So that's the question. When can it be said that we're ripe for a national liberation movement? What should be the first line of action? Because decolonization comes in many shapes. Reason wavers and abstains from declaring what is true decolonization and what is not. We shall see that for the politically committed, urgent decisions. So the politically committed have to have are needed on means and tactics and direction of the organization, right? An organization. This is like what we are supposed to be doing. So what are the forces in the colonial period which offers new channels, new agents of empowerment for the violence of the colonized? First and foremost, the political parties and the intellectual and business elite. Okay, so that's interesting. What are the forces in the colonial party? So what are the forces that offer new channels? So he's saying the most important aspects, we have to have political parties and intellectual and business elite. Again, like I said, the elites are really important. However, what is characteristic of the certain political groups is that they are strong on principles, but abstain from issuing marching orders. So he's saying the political groups have to not be a part of the military part, which is interesting.
This is where the Book of Power would really come into play. Because once you initiate your organization, you can go and take the Onitaset personality test and see where you fit in.
Oh, yeah, true that.
I'm supposed to be teaching the babies to build a sure foundation. And that is what I do every day, breaking stuff down into little itty-bitty pieces. So get the Book of Power and talk to Onitaset to take his personality test to see where you fit in this organization. Because we move as a hand, not as a finger.
All right, let me pause that video. Okay, so now that would have been a good ad, though. That would have been a good ad, right? Like with the middle, self-fluid. All right, no, yeah, thanks so much, Justin. You're right. But yeah, that's what he's saying. Like that's what he's saying. You know, make sure you get the Book of Power, everybody. All right, no, yeah, I'm surprised Machiavelli ain't hating, and not saying nothing. All right, during the colonial period, the activities of these nationalist political parties are purely for election. Oh, so he's like during the colonial period, the activities of these national political parties are purely for electioneering purposes and amount to no more than a series of philosophical political discourses on the subjects of the rights of peoples to self-determination, human rights of dignity, and the freedom from hunger, and the countless declarations of principle, one man, one vote. So he's like, during the colonial period, a lot of these political parties are just, just talk. The nationalist political parties never insist on the need for confrontation precisely because their aim is not the radical overthrow of the system. Pacifists and law-abiding partisans, in fact, of order, the new order, these political groups bluntly ask of the colonialist bourgeoisie what to them is essential. Give us more power. On the specific issue of violence, the elite are ambiguous. They are violent in their words and reformist in their attitudes. While the bourgeois nationalist political leaders say one thing, they make it quite clear it is not what they are really thinking. So, again, I want to clarify this. It makes a lot of sense. In fact, there was this white boy who was saying that he's for change, right? But it has to be, I think, constitutional and not revolutionary. He's for constitutional change, but not revolutionary change. And you have to realize that if you are the colonial leaders, right? If you're leading the colony, right? You're okay with transforming. You're okay with changing the system, but you're not okay with giving it up completely or it being completely destroyed. You still want to have power in your new system. And a lot of people, you have to realize, a lot of people in this, like a lot of people who are subjugated by this power that exists, the powers that be, want more power there, And that's really one of the issues that you're going to run into, wherever. Where it's the case that, because I could even admit, when I was younger, I wanted to be a senator or a congressman or something like that. And I had a friend who wanted to be a senator, Like we understood that like what we wanted was to have like some political position, some political power, Like if you were, because you could still enact change, you figure. But were we advocating for the violent overthrow? No. And would a political party would a political party, realistically speaking, advocate for the violent overthrow of a country? No. Like only like the Republicans recently tried it, I guess. But like even they didn't say it. Like they didn't say it's outright, yeah, let's overtake this government violently. They tried it, I guess, in a sense, if you want to say that, but they did not say it outright because, to say it outright would be punishable by the government in power. And that's white people in a white government. Of course, black people in a white government are going to be in big trouble, But all right, so this characteristic of the nationalist political party must be attributed to the nature of their leaders and their supporters. The supporters of the nationalist party are urban voters. These workers, elementary school teachers, small tradesmen, and shopkeepers who have begun to profit from the colonial situation, in a pitiful sort of way, of course, have their own interests in mind. What these supporters are demanding is a better life and improved wages. The dialogue between the political parties and colonialism has continued uninterrupted. I want to just touch on this too. So Engels has a book. Engels is the person who helps out with Marxism or whatever, right? Engels has a book where, Lenin, my bad. Lenin is describing this same situation in Russia. He's saying, hey, there are workers and so-called advocates of workers who are just looking for better wages and more representation in that political structure. It's the universal for Western societies. Okay. Again, but again, we have to understand why you're not advocating for violence against a violent institution, because when the tanks, if they have tanks, right, and you have rifles, you know what I mean? And sure, rifles. No, I'm not even gonna say that. But yeah, sure, you could outmaneuver tanks, but you have to be very organized and very confident to do that. You have to be very organized and very confident to do that, and that's really what it comes down to when you have workers and elementary school teachers and tradesmen and shopkeepers who are going to benefit from, who are going to have some profit, some small profit from the colonial situation, obviously. And they just want better lives and improved wages, and that's what people are really fighting for, as according to Amilcar Cabral. But this is the thing that is all over the world in these particular economies, is that you have like people are just looking for better lives for themselves, and a lot of people have these better have these good ideas of what a world would look like, and just advocating violence blindly, but will it work is the question, or when will it work is the other question, The dialogue between the political parties and colonialism has continued uninterrupted. Discussions focus on improvements, electoral representation, freedom of the press, and freedom of association. Reforms are discussed. It should come as no surprise, therefore, that a good many colonial subjects are active members in branches of metropolitan political parties. These colonial subjects are militant activists under the abstract slogan, power to the proletariat, forgetting that in their part of the world, slogans of national liberation should come first. The colonized intellectual has invested his aggression in his barely veiled wish to be assimilated to the colonizer's world. He has placed his aggression at the service of his own interests, his interests as an individual. This result is the ready emergence of a kind of class of individually liberated slaves, of freed slaves. Revolutionary Nation might say the urban slave, right? The intellectual calls for ways of freeing more and more slaves and ways of organizing a genuine class of the emancipated. The masses, however, have no intention of looking on as the chances of individual success improve. What they demand is not the status of the colonist, but his place. In this immense majority, the colonized wants the colonist's farm. There is no question for them of competing with the colonists. They want to take his place. So this is obviously what you see, BLF, Black Land First. They're like, we're just going to take the land of these white people. We're just going to take their land and give it back to the black folk. Other parties are like, okay, maybe if we take the land, we're going to recompensate them. Or if not, we're going to have them share some of the profits with us. But the BLF is like, no, just give us the land. And of course, some people in South Africa are asking the question, well, what if will the land still produce as much food and all that kind of stuff? And those are really important questions, but they're also not important questions, So, I mean, again, it comes to would it work to get rid of all the white folk? Absolutely. But when will it work? And will it work for you? Will it work for your children? That's the question. Sure, you can do without this water system, you could do without water system for a moment, and then eventually somebody might figure it out, maybe, possibly, or you could, certainly eventually things can become something good, but when, are you ready? Are we ready? And that's really what we should be preparing for. as a people. But all right, so the peasantry is systematically left out of most of the nationalist party's propaganda, but it is obvious that in the colonial countries, only the peasantry is revolutionary. It's nothing to lose and everything to gain. The underprivileged and starving peasant is the exploited who very soon discovers that only violence pays. For him, there is no compromise, no possibility of concession. Colonization or decolonization is simply a power struggle. The exploited realize that their liberation implies using every means available, and force is the first. When Monsieur Guy Mollet capitulated to the French settlers in Algeria in 1956, the Front de la Libération Nationale, FLN, in a famous tract stated that the colonialism only loosens its hold when the knife is at its throat. No Algerian really thought these terms too violent. The tract merely expressed what every Algerian feels deep down. Colonialism is not a machine capable of thinking, a body endowed with reason. It is naked violence and only gives in when confronted with greater violence. So I just want people to understand this too about the Algerian revolution, right? These French were murdering them. Concentration camps back, like during this fight, the French would take over a city and just massacre everybody there because they were trying to hold control. You have to, like in a real revolution against a very powerful foe, right? You're like the slaughter left and right is incomparable. You know, like the brutality that you saw as a colonial subject was one thing, and it was meant to obviously keep you from acting out. But the other thing that happens is that they put you in these concentration camps, and they murder you wholesale. You know, the same happened in Kenya. That they were talking about what happened in Kenya. They're starving people. They were putting mud in, because Machiavelli was kind of turned off when he said the electrode to the genital, but that's what happens. That's what they did. They would torture you, realistically speaking. They would like, for instance, they put mud in people's mouths in Kenya and like stomped on them, stomped on their faces until they choked or whatever. Like they were torturing people. Like these white people are inhumane now, but in a situation of war, they are inhumane.
Exactly.
Like
gets worse.
Yeah, it gets, but it's necessary, because Algeria's free, Kenya's free, Haiti's free, Jamaica's free, whatever, right? These places are free because, but the loss of life at the hands of these colonists is immeasurable. So many lives cut short, so many great minds were, so on and so forth. Some people survived, some people didn't. A lot of people didn't. But yeah, the Algerian Revolution, people should probably look that up. It's a lot of people died for that. All right. So at the critical deciding moment, the colonialist bourgeoisie, which had remained silent up till then, enters the fray. They introduce a new notion, in actual fact, a creation of the colonial situation, nonviolence. In its raw state, this nonviolence conveys to the colonialized intellectual and the business elite that their interests are identical to those of the colonialist bourgeoisie, and it is therefore indispensable, a matter of urgency, to reach an agreement for the common good. Nonviolence is an attempt to settle the colonial problem around the negotiating table before the irreparable is done, before any bloodshed or regrettable act is committed. But if the masses, without waiting for the chairs to be placed around the negotiating table, take matters into their own hand and start burning and killing, it is not long before we see the elite and the leaders of the bourgeois nationalist parties turn to the colonial authorities and tell them, this is terribly serious. Goodness knows how it will all end. We must find an answer. We must find a compromise. So yeah, there you have it. So that's page 24 actually. But there you have it. But that's also like the realistic situation. Like if we're not realistic, we have to realize that people, like white people, are not trying to give up on anything that they have around this world, because everything they have around this world profits them. They're not trying to give up on the profit that they get from like America. They're not trying to get the profit that they got from Algeria. They're not trying to give up on the profit that they get from Haiti. And so exactly. And so you have to fight them. What happened in Haiti was they fought these French to the point where the French understood, yeah, we can't win. But the French had plans that if they did win, they would kill every black person older than 8. You understand?
And remember, that was one of the things I was talking about when we talked previously about the age of indoctrination and the fact that they're using our children as weapons against us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's what it is. But they were going to do all this brutality towards us. You understand? And they were doing all that kind of brutality towards us. They were burning people. That's what, like, I think this is the sister named Kim Pavita, I think her name is. No, I don't remember her name, but I think it's Kim Pavita. But yeah, it was like in one of these countries in Africa, and yeah, they burned her alive for just like spreading this idea of revolution, but that's what you would expect, because one of the reasons, like I said, if you go to, like, let's say we had Akon Town, you cannot be in his town, right, doing whatever you want. You understand? Doing, like, you set the rules. You're the free person. You can do whatever you want. You could do, and then saying, hey, I want to revolt against this institution because I don't like who's being profited. I don't feel like I'm getting enough when I'm living in this border, so I'm going to revolt. They're not going to just, like, maybe possibly he's going to let you walk, right? Maybe, I don't know, but realistically speaking, white folk wouldn't. Okay, they don't like it. They don't want it to happen because their whole point is like the thing is not broken. You understand? They might compromise. If you are a serious threat, they might compromise. But if you wanna be violent with them, they're gonna be violent with you. And they, now here's the thing. Malcolm X said, white folk don't really win wars. Like the way how the Asians categorize white folk is that they're paper tigers. Like they look like tigers, but they're made out of paper. And I mean, that might be the case. But again, it's, like they could still kill quite a few people, because that's what they did with Black Wall Street. Like what they did with Black Wall Street, they could do all over the world. Obviously your tactic against that is to not be in that, like, so cornered. When they, because like, again, like I said, like there's this example of the Maroons. Like there are Maroon villages that survived to this day, right? But there are also Maroon villages that were caught sleeping. So they fought for like a lot of these Maroon villages fought for like 7, 8, 12 years, whatever, right? Until they got negotiated. But some of them were caught sleeping, and they were wiped out.
Not only that, they are always looking, even when you gain freedom and liberation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even if you go through all of the horrors that are necessary to be free, liberated, and independent, you can never stop war as a posture, and defense as a posture, and preparation as a posture. You never have to get ready if you stay ready, because they spend billions of dollars in an effort to stay ready.
Exactly. And not just that, like look at Vietnam. What happened in Vietnam was the Vietnamese beat out the French, and then the Americans showed up. And they were fighting this Vietnamese war for like a decade before the Americans said, all right, fine, whatever. But it was like that. You could beat out the French and then the Americans show up. And it's the same with, like, imagine if North Korea didn't have nuclear weapons and didn't have China on its side. You think America wouldn't do nothing? You think South Korea wouldn't move on them? America's always plotting. Same with Cuba. This guy Castro finally died of national cause, whatever. But they were trying to kill him all the time. And now they're trying to open up Cuba, obviously. But that's the whole thing. These white people do not give up. Generation after generation will continue to try to get whatever you got. And if you are caught sleeping, that's on you. Because that's what happened to the brother in Grenada. Maurice Bishop, good brother, smart brother. Nice, he's a socialist too. Smart brother, right? He was caught slipping. Reagan killed him in the 80s.
That's right.
Killed him in the 80s. Said, oh yeah, I think there's some, and this was, and I'll tell you, and here's the thing. It was like I documented in the Book of Power, right? So shout out, right? But I documented where what happens is that he says himself, ABC News. So ABC is a company that, does these broadcasts in America. He's like, they showed up and they were like, hey, we heard that you're building a military base, right? And we just want you to clarify. He's like, no, it's just an airport. And he's talking to ABC. ABC goes back, tells Reagan the whole, like he gives them a walkthrough of the whole city. And lets them know so that Reagan now, when he brings his airplanes, he uses the same damn airstrip that he showed off, and he's building. Because you sleeping. You like, oh no, we're peaceful. We're just neighbors, and we're doing fine. And we don't have any. We can't really defend ourselves against big bad America. And America's like, really? You can't? Okay. You done messed up. You should have never told him that. Should have said, oh yeah, we got all these Russian missiles pointing at. You know what I'm saying? Like you should have said that. Because then America's like, oh, okay, all right, we can't do nothing with no Russian missiles. But you like, oh yeah, we can't defend ourselves. Oh, you can't defend yourselves. Okay.
I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show, but it's called Deterrence. And it highlights this principle, which, you know, and involve of war and technique strategies because we actually want to use them. But we want to deter people from bothering us so that they won't attack us because there will be retaliation.
Exactly.
While war is a posture.
Yeah. That's you know apparently that's one of the notions of art of war, which is that the best war is the one that you don't have to fight. You know, it's like if you see this like a guy who's, you know, like a large man want to fight me, right? He would rather me not fight him. You understand? Even if he thinks he would win, which he probably will, but you know, let's say that's the case, right? Even so, it's like that don't mean that he still want to get punched in the face. You know? That don't mean that he want to get choked or bitten or some shit. He don't want to fight you. He would rather you say, look.
Need to avoid it. Like, there's no point in having a competition. You can avoid it.
Yeah, that's what happens with, in fact, animals too. Like if you, like for instance, if you see a lion, right, and you show that you got a blade, right, the lion is gonna say, you know, the lion could easily kill you, easy. But he's saying, why would I get cut in the arm?
For what?
Yeah, he's like, why would I get cut in the arm and injured? Because like, you know, your injuries stay with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your injuries don't just go away.
It's a disadvantage for him.
Yeah, exactly. After, like, sure he killed you, but now he's injured for the rest of his life. He don't got doctors. You know what I'm saying? like, you know what I mean? Like if I stab out his eye or some shit or something, then sure I'm dead. But so the lion's gonna be like, okay, keep walking, and I'm like, yeah, I'll keep walking. You keep walking too. You know, and that's it.
You understand it.
Exactly, a deterrent. You know, you can't really because
the two lions, like, they're not gonna fight just off GP. Just like they gotta make sure, like,
exactly,
one versus the other, they understand what's like. They're not either gonna fight. One of them's gonna die.
Exactly.
You know, regardless. It's not like you just fight. Okay, let's stop, bro. No, you go and fight to the death, regardless.
Exactly, and that's what the deterrent thing is too. So that's what like in America, in the Cold War, it was called mutual, you know, MAD, mutual assured destruction, which was this idea that if you were to launch a nuke at Moscow, they would launch a nuke at Washington.
No.
Exactly, at Washington. No, they'll launch 500 nukes in America at America's interest, and America would have to launch 500 nukes at Russia and Russia's interest. And it's like, is it worth it?
There's a whole bunch of posturing amongst them.
Exactly. It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to be nuked 500 times? No. Like whatever you know. Oh, he ain't give you a back rub. Nah, it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like it gotta be something serious. You know.
And what you have to understand, future generations, wise leaders of tomorrow, is that you have to pick the right moment because the cost is going to be high. The cost is going to be high. Not only is the cost going to be high, but you must be fully committed. This ain't the time for no cowards. Taking it to a biblical reference, you got to make sure that you have cut off the ones that would have wanted to go home, that drink water wrong, that don't have the right attitude, that have divided interests. You have to have your military elite on this venture. You can't have somebody there that's like half-stepping. They got to be fully committed.
Yeah, everybody, too many people half-stepping, that's for sure. But anyway, that's pretty much it. That's page 24. That's the book. I mean, it's not that bad. It's interesting. You know, I might be taking.
It's a lot better reading it as a group. I'm just gonna say, because I picked up this book before, and I got to that place where you got to like, this is so, and just put it down. It's on my bookshelf right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta admit, I feel like I should be reading it much faster. I don't know why I'm not, but still, like, yeah, it's a dude. I mean, it has something to it. Like you said, broken clock right once a day, but like, I don't know why this dude describing things how he's describing it, but you know, it is what it is.
Volcanic eruption.
Sure.
Orgies.
Meanwhile, they just doing, and they just doing the electric slide. Like, come on, my guy, you know, it ain't all that.
As they do the electric slide, is invigorating the souls.
It ain't all that, man. Anyway, but all right, family. Thanks so much for tuning in. We didn't really have too many comments, but we got Revolutionary Matron and Machiavelli, and I appreciate the two of them. Yeah, I appreciate the two of them. So anyway, I'll tell that to the rest of the fam. This is the deep reading of the Wretched of the Earth. And of course, check out the KWC family, including Revolutionary Matron, but as well as the Harsh Reality Podcast and the Bit of Medicine Podcast. But until tomorrow, I guess, Shamiam Hotep. Okay, yeah, that was nice, fam.